Bunnies invade Millard, Nebraska, coming up next. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Lyle Buell Stadium here in historic Millard, Nebraska. Todd Walkenhorst back alongside Preston Munch, and I'll tell you what, Millard North, they've been able to get pretty far in the playoffs. They just haven't been able to go all the way. Maybe the chances hurt a little bit this year. They're missing a star player.
Judd Davies, and if we had him early here, Millard North, Millard South, this guy, he rumbles and stumbles, averaging 150 yards a game, and he is a big-time player, Division I player. Nebraska's already jumping on the boat of Davies. He's a junior, a torn ACL in his last game. They thought it was a hyperextended knee, but it turned out to be an ACL. We'll see. Coach Petito doesn't know how long he'll be out, but he could be out for the rest of the year.
Rick Petito, he's had some great running attacks there. Today it's going to come down on the shoulders of the quarterback. He has a big load to carry.
Yeah, it's post-Eric Crouch era. You got a man named Nick Pearson. He is a great player. He's a junior, 6'1", 200 pounds. This guy's averaging 140 yards rushing, had 168 yards rushing last game. He runs the option to perfection, and I tell you, the fans up here in Lyle Buell Stadium are almost forgetting Eric Crouch.
I'll tell you what, the options aided out a great offensive formulation you'll see around here. It's the wing bone, and to have that, you have to have some great backs, and there is a lot of talent in that backfield.
Yeah, Judd Davies, he's gone, but they still have Jason Apin. He runs a 4.6 electronic 40, a great player and a great center fielder as well. He's going to take over the load. Coach Fred Petito says, hey, Todd, he's the best-kept secret in Metro.
Back on the other side, Omaha Benson, 1-2 record, maybe a little deceiving. They're playing their best ball as of late. They almost had an upset of Papillion La Vista.
21-14, they lost, and Papio scores with 2:20 to go in the game, and they take out that victory. But Benson, they got some great players. Number 32, Kenton Keith. He is an awesome player, big-time player, being recruited by, you name the school, he's being recruited by that team. And also, Randy Stella. He's been out. He had that high ankle sprain, the same thing Eric Crouch suffered, but he has got it iced down. And Coach Lonnie Tapp in his 12th year says, hey, Randy Stella is ready to go. So Stella and Keith, watch out for those two guys on offense and defense.
Stay tuned. Metro Conference action coming your way. Join us on the sidelines tonight. Keithan McCann, he'll be watching down there. Take it, Keithan.
Yes, how you doing? Good to be here tonight. I'll be your sideline reporter, giving you any news and updates tonight here at Benson Bunnies, Millard North, live, O2 TV.
Mustangs and Bunnies coming up next. Get your pop, get some vittles, sit down in front of your television. Metro Conference football coming up next.
For unique things to buy, come to Bel Air Plaza. There's so much you must try. Professional retail store, service door to door. There's more to explore at Bel Air Plaza now.
Northwest corner of 120th and West Center.
You're invited to attend the crowning of the 101st King and Queen of Ak-Sar-Ben at the 1997 Ak-Sar-Ben Coronation Ball. Saturday, October 18th at the Ak-Sar-Ben Coliseum. This annual Heartland tradition recognizes individuals and families for their service to their communities and helps support local scholars through the Ak-Sar-Ben Scholarship Fund. The 1997 Ak-Sar-Ben Coronation Ball. Call 554-9606 for ticket information.
Welcome to Lyle Buell Stadium. Just prior to kickoff here, Millard North, number 2 in the O2 TV top 10, taking on the Benson Bunnies. 3-0 record for Millard North. That's nothing new for them, Preston. They usually do pretty well out of the gates, but it's finishing the job that they've had problems with. They hope to do here in 97.
Yeah, they've looked very good in their opening 3 games this season for Millard North. And if you remember, we had them at the beginning of the year against Millard South, a game they won 30-6. Beat Millard West 17-0, and they beat Bellevue West 56-14. What jumps out at you, Todd, is they score points, and they don't give up many points.
Now, Benson's had a rough road to get here. 1-2 start. They played competitive, but they have some injuries as well, and that might set them back a little bit.
Yeah, they started the season off in a tough loss to Millard West, 13-38 or 38-13. Central 17-7, and Papio 21-14. As you take a look at the newest O2 TV top 10, the top 4 remain the same. Number 5, Columbus, Sam Guts Incorporated. He sneaks in there at 5, and Northeast, Platte, South, and North, and the team from Lincoln East in there at number 10. So that's the latest top 10 poll for O2 TV Sports.
Millard North won the kickoff. They deferred until half number 2. They will kick off. And here's the keys of the game. Begin with the Mustangs.
Swamp the point of attack. Fred Petito says, hey, we got a swarming defense, got to continue. Hold on to the ball. Millard North had 10 fumbles in 3 games. They got to rally around Davies' injury. Petito said, hey, we got a very mature team. Said these guys have done a good well coping with the injury. And Davies is out there, as we saw at the beginning, Todd, really pumping up this team.
Davies wants to possibly have a comeback yet this year, but they'll have to wait and see. There's the keys to the game for the Benson Bunnies.
Benson, they got a weak offensive line. Coach said, hey, we got to get this going. We need someone to step up. And he says, we got to force turnovers. Todd, they've only forced 6 turnovers, 3 fumbles, and they haven't gained any of them.
They try a squib kick to start things off. It's picked up by an up man, Eric England picks it up, and he's the backup quarterback. He gets it out to about the 32-yard line, and they'll spot it at the 33. That's where the Bunnies will start.
What's on, and the quarterback will be Curtis Gromley, 6 foot, 180-pound junior. Had a concussion in last week's game against Papio. Had to be taken off a stretcher in that 3rd quarter. He comes back, and now he's ready to go. Doctor said he's A-OK. Number 32, Kenton Keith, he is worth the price of admission. Watch out for him.
2-back set. It's going to be very dangerous. Randy Stella, Kenton Keith are both in the backfield as Stella goes into motion. They give it off to Keith, tries to find room across the right side. Nice open field tackle by Millard North, coming in to make the stop. Rick Merrill, and a couple-yard loss.
Right, and there's the offensive line for Benson. They got a huge job there, a very small offensive line. We'll talk about that as well. They are outmanned in every aspect against this huge defensive line for Millard North. But what a tackle by Merrill. Wraps him up, hits him low, brings him down. Loss of 3 yards.
2nd down and 13, back at the 30-yard line as they'll try to get out past the 43 to get this drive going. Just getting started. Pull up a chair. Metro Conference football right here on O2 TV. A handoff again, right up the middle. They hand off to Randy Stella. Not much there, maybe a yard loss one more time, and we do have a penalty, and it's going to be a face mask against Millard North.
Taking a look at the Millard North defense, and the man to look out for, number 19, Shane Schultz. He is the school's leading all-time tackler. And that was after his junior year. He's got a whole year. He is the man to watch out for on that Millard North defense.
So they mark off the penalty, and this is the 15-yard type. That's what you have in high school. And that'll be an automatic 1st down. So even though the first 2 plays did not look so hot, lost a couple of yards, lost another, they're going to have a 1st down and try to regroup.
Petito said, hey, we got to cut the penalties out. They have 21 penalties in 3 games. That's an average of 7 a game. He says, hey, we got to cut this out if we want to stay in these games.
Kenny Keith and Randy Stella in the backfield. Keith will go into motion to the right side, wide out on each side. It's the Johnson brothers, Michael on the far side, and Marcus on the near side. Pressure from behind, just gets it off, nearly intercepted. In and out of the hands. It looks like down there for Millard North, Joe Corbett. That one just looked too good to be true, and he could not wrap it in.
Don't you hate it when the ball hits you in the hands? And this one was a perfect opportunity. Cromley, you can see creeping up behind him. That's Nick Boyer. Boyer puts a hit on him, shakes up Gromley's pass a little bit, and hits him in the hands, hits him in the face mask. And I tell you, that's a play he's got to come up with. And you take a look at the secondary. Ray Rose and Jason Apin, Rick Merrill, Mike Ogaz, a very solid secondary for Millard North.
So 3 plays and nothing positive as of yet. They did get a 1st down thanks to a penalty. They will try to see if they can turn that around right here. 2-back set once again. They'll keep it on the ground. They hand it off to Stella. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. If he got a yard, that's a very, very tough yard.
Randy Stella, he is the Omaha World Herald Super 6 first-team All-Nebraska selection last year as a linebacker, and he led Benson with 109 tackles. Todd, 72 of those 109 tackles were solo tackles. He's a great player. He's a 4-year starter for Coach Lonnie Tapp. Tapp in his 12th year coaching the Benson Bennies.
Well, he did manage to get 2 yards out of it. He'll bring up 3rd down and 8 yards to go here for Benson. Trying to get this drive to go complete. Pressure once again, and he'll have to eat the ball. We'll say his arm was in motion. Gormley gets called for the incomplete pass. And now they're going to say that was a fumble. This ball is going to belong to Millard North.
Well, they're going to say that his arm was not in motion, and they're going to say it was forced. There's Apin, his 4.6 40 speed, and they say they're going to cause that. And that's, you got to agree, Todd, incomplete pass. His arm was in motion, and that's not how the referees see it, and they say possession for Millard North.
Now, the near referee first waved a forward motion and then called for the incomplete pass. But then on the far side, they give the ball to Millard North, so they'll take over off of the fumble and take over in great field position at the Benson 32-yard line. It's our first chance to see Nick Pearson, the quarterback for the Mustangs. He'll keep it himself across the 30 down to the 29, and there's a penalty flag here on the near side, and this might be a false start. We'll wait to get the official word.
Well, Nick Pearson, 347 yards, 2 touchdowns on this season, and in fact, they will get a false start, so that'll set them back 5 yards. And already we talked about the penalties for Millard North. 2 penalties, 20 yards.
So the penalties will hurt. 9:56 remaining here in the first quarter. Here's a starting O for Millard North.
Yeah, that's a great backfield, and of course Judd Davies is missing in that spot. But Nick Pearson, he's the player to watch out for, prime-time player. He's only a junior.
So back it up 5 yards. They'll bring up first down and 15 yards to go for Millard North.
Offensive line, look for number 64, Jeff Quant. They call him Q, Todd. He got a 34 in his ACT.
Wow.
You add ours up, we don't even get close to 34.
Not even close.
That's what you want. You want a very smart center. This is a senior-lated offensive line.
The entire front line is seniors, as you mentioned, and it helped right there. A pickup of nearly 5 yards as they give it off one more time to their I-back. They'll bring it back to the original line of scrimmage. They'll bring up about second down and 10 situation.
Here's this defensive setup for Benson, and they got a huge job trying to stop a Millard North team on the season. Todd, they've gotten near 1,000 yards rushing, 964 yards on the ground. They're averaging 321 yards. They're only getting better. They had over 400 yards last week versus Bellevue West.
They spotted at the 33. That'll be second down and 11 yards to go. They run a wing bone offense, and they want a timeout. Nick Pearson didn't like what he saw, but we talk about this wing bone, and there's 2 backs, and sometimes you'll see a third back there, and it's basically a double or triple option out of that set.
Yeah, they get their fullback back there, who's Joe Corbett and Jason Apen at the wing, and Pat Ricketts at the slot, and those guys, and they do a bunch of tricks. This is a wing bone offense they put in for Eric Crouch, and Coach Petito, he liked Pearson and what he can do, and he said, hey, we're going to keep this offense in there, and we're going to say this guy can run it, and we're going to keep it in there. You take a look at the secondary, the Johnson boys. Yes, they are brothers. And you also see Kenton Keith. He is back there, and he is a dominating player on the defensive side.
Wingbone very effective, and there's almost a form of that we saw Tom Osborne use against Washington, a couple of trick plays, the 3-back set. They went to Lance Brown once right there, so very, very effective.
Well, we talked about Judd Davies being out. Expect Jason Apen to assume the running load for Millard North. And as we talked about at the beginning, he's probably the best kept secret of the Metro, Coach Petito said. And he's got good speed, and look out for number 25.
So a resume play, second down and 11. 9:06 remaining here in the first quarter. So far, nobody has scored. Pearson runs option off to the right side, has some room across the 30, down near the 25-yard line. They'll bring up third down and about 2 or 3 yards to go. Positive gain right there for Nick Pearson, and if he can find those holes, he needs to make the most of them.
Well, you take a look at Nick Pearson, and you can see he has confidence in running the option, and the only thing he probably don't like is the way he's handling that ball. And that's why they have 10 fumbles on the season. He needs to take care of the ball a little better. Is there? He leaves it out like that. You get athletes on Benson's side, they'll knock that ball out. So that's something he's got to work on. But again, this guy is 6 in Class A in rushing, 111 yards a game that he is averaging this season.
Third down and 4 lined up on the right side. B.J. Gerke. Watch to see if they go to him. Instead, they go to the fullback, Joe Corbett, up the middle. That's going to be close to a first down from here. It looks like might be about a yard short.
Well, Corbett comes in there and assumes a huge role taken over for Davies. And before this game, he only had 5 carries of 51 yards, and he's averaging 10.2 yards a carry, but he's only had 5 carries on the season. But Coach Lonnie Tapper Benson says, hey, Davies may be gone, but we're just as scared of Corbett. Corbett is a great athlete for this team. He's been a starter for 3 years now for Millard North. He's a great athlete at that position as well.
James Whelan checks in for the Mustangs. He lines up wide to the left side. Wide to throw on 4th down and 1, going to the end zone and incomplete. Intended receiver down there, Andy Nord, it looked like, got free and tried to run into the end zone, catch him off guard on the 4th and 1. but instead it's going to be a change possession, and there is an injured bunny. We'll check in on him.
Yeah, and they try to change it up. Looked like they're going to run that option. He chops back, and Andy Nord, they had the man-to-man coverage. The safety, he was creeping in, and they had what they were looking for. Andy Nord, if you remember, he was the starting quarterback this season at the beginning of the year for North. He's come over, assumed a tight end position, done a good job there, and Todd, they just miscalculate. Interesting call, Todd. You're running the ball down Benson's throat right there. You got a great offensive line. Why not keep pounding it down and get to 7?
Great chance here for Benson. They need to turn it around on their first possession. Practically went 3 and out. It was called a fumble and a turnover for Millard North, but really no positive plays on that offensive drive despite a penalty that gave him a first down. On the other hand, Millard North had positive penalties, but end up turning it over on downs. So far, we're even. Injured Benson Bunny coming off of the field, Sam Bonu. Senior running back, do-it-all linebacker.
As you take a look at the comparisons here, this Millard North offense, 6'2", 237 pounds. At Benson defense, they're at 6'1", 222 pounds. And we'll show you the comparison on the other side of the coin with Benson on offense and Millard North on defense.
Well, that's what we got right now. Man in motion for the Bunnies, Kenton Keith. 2 wideouts on the left side as Gorby tries to go back and hits his receiver on the right side. He has room to run across the 40 down to midfield and brought down. Kenton Keith sneaking off to that right side. And a healthy pickup into Mustang territory.
31-yard gain on the play, and you see the dangerous abilities of Kenton Keith. And Kenton Keith, just ask Papio last week, he bolted for a 92-yard touchdown run on the game's first play. Take a look at the offensive line, Todd. 6 foot, they only average 217 pounds. Look at Millard North. They're 6'3", 241 pounds. I think it's safe to say Benson offensive line, they got their cutout for them.
So move the chains, and now into Millard North territory at the 47-yard line. 7:37 remaining here in the first period. 2 back, and the ball is on the ground. Gormley lost possession of it, and it looks like Millard North has come up with the second turnover of this very early contest.
Well, Todd, to beat a team like Millard North in their home field, you got to take care of the ball. And as you take a look at that, that was a play. They were faking it off to Kenton Keith up the middle. He hit a little too much of the ball, and he can't do it. Todd, talking about turnovers, last year, I know this is not the NFL, but to use these numbers, last year when a team gave 2 turnovers per game, they only won 45% of the time. They have another turnover. They're at 3. Teams only win 26% of the time. Got to hold on to the ball.
Nick Pearson back out with the offense, hands off to his fullback, Joe Corbett, and he gets across the 50 down to the 49, a tough 2 yards. For Joe Corbett, the 5'11", 205-pound fullback, bring up second down and 8 yards to go. So far, back and forth, we've seen a couple of turnovers. That's stalled out a couple of Benson drives very early on here. And the Mustangs trying to see if they could take advantage of, quite honestly, a little more talent on their side of the ball. Second down and 7. Man goes into motion once again, and they hand off again. You'll see that a lot. He has plenty of options in that wing bone offense. That time, he goes off to Dan Dvorak, and he picks up maybe a yard.
Pat Ricketts, the junior, he comes in on that opposite side. He plays the slot back. He doesn't get a lot of carries throughout the year, but that's what they use him for. Only use him 2 or 3 times at a pop and throughout the game and try to catch the team by surprise. And Ricketts goes in there and picks up a few yards. But right now, big play, 3rd down and 6. A big chance for the Benson defense to make a big stop.
Spencer Southwell, he's number 10. He's lined up on the near side of your screen, right on the sideline. They line up 2 wideouts on the right side, and they will run left. Pearson tucks it under across the 45, maybe down to the 44. And we're going to have a 4th down situation. You'd think a kicking situation, as it'll be 4th down and 3.
Well, this replay coming right back at you. And look at this, tripping him up, just getting it up on that play was Mr. Randy Stella. I tell you, he's not one of the top players in the state for no reason. Not an Omaha World Super 6 player for no reason. Great play.
Another injured bunny out there. We'll try to check on the number. Looks like we might have some cramping going on. A very warm night. We've had rain earlier this week. The ground here at Lyle Beal Stadium looks like it's really absorbed it pretty well. But there might be some cramping as we're near the 80s during kickoff time.
And the player serving the cramps is Nate Willis, 6'3" junior. And even the mascot, a little hot, taking off his Mustang head. Todd, you can't do that as a mascot. You can't let your face be shown.
Absolutely not. I'll tell you what, this really is not the most worst circumstances to be a mascot. It's kind of cool. It's starting to get dark. Got to tough it out.
Definitely.
At least do it in the locker room.
It'd be nice in October, November to have the costume
a little
outfit
extra
on.
fur.
That's right.
You check out the Benson sidelines, and they will send in a replacement. Eric England back in. He's actually the backup quarterback. And he'll check in now on defense and line up on the line. Back to kick is B.J. Gerke. Back deep to pick this one up is Randy Stella and also Ken and Keith. And look, this one will bounce out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Not a bad kick. And very poor field position for Benson to start off their third series of the game.
B.J. Gerke has been an impressive punter this season, and his numbers maybe not be the greatest as far as averaging a punt, but he's done a great job of kicking the ball out of bounds, pinning the teams inside the 15, the 10-yard line in this instance. He's done a great job. Kenton Keith, keep it out of his hands. He had a 91-yard punt return earlier this year for a touchdown. For Benson, they have over 230 yards in return yards already this season.
Third series of the game for Benson. The first two resulted in fumbles. They don't want to fumble down here. They hand off to the fullback. Maybe a yard back out towards the 10-yard line. He'll bring up a second and about 9.
Yeah, so he's got to, if they keep it
They mark him as no gain down to the 9-yard line. Bring up second down and 10. Clock continues to run. No score here in the first quarter at Lyle Buell Stadium. Curtis Gormley. Man goes into motion. It's Ken and Keith. Gormley, he'll keep it himself across the 10, out down to 11. For our next play, let's check in the sidelines with our sideline man, Keith McCann.
Update injury on the sideline of Omaha Benson Bunnies. Sam Bono, their starting inside linebacker, senior, had a mild sprain on his left ankle. Lonnie Tapps looks for him to be back in 5 to 10 minutes.
Thanks, Keithan. And there's been some injuries already for Benson. We've seen a couple of men down, and this is an injury-riddled team already. They can't afford to lose anyone else.
No, they cannot. And when you look down this roster, Todd, Benson, they're about 15, 20 guys shorter than Millard North is, and Benson has got the short roster out there, but they got some great athletes.
They'll spread it out here on 3rd down and 7. Marcus Johnson lines up on the near side, and we'll have a flag that will stop play before this snap can get off. Okay. Checking in with the officiating crew, it's going to be delay a game against Benson. They'll back them up 5 yards, bring up 3rd down and 12 at their own 7-yard line, and you can't afford to make a mistake at this part of the field.
Well, so far in the season, Benson, some slight penalty problems, 18 penalties for 160 yards. They're averaging 6 a game, but that's not a good time to do it. This is not a good game to pick up penalties like this. Now they're on their own 6-yard line, 3rd and 12.
Lone back is Randy Stella. Man goes into motion, 2 wideouts on the left side. Bromley drops back, and he looks for Keith Cannon down on that far sideline, and he picks it up complete at the 25, goes out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Nice piece of offense by Kenton Keith. Maybe not the best throw, but he pulls this one down.
This is a pattern called the chair. You run an out pattern, you get a pump fake from Bromley, you send it long, you got man-to-man coverage, and Keith, the great athlete, he makes a nice move. And on the coverage there was Rick Merrill. Rick Merrill, no chance. And Rick Merrill just a chance to get back on his feet and make the tackle, because if Keith burns him, he's gone for a 75 or 85-yard touchdown run.
Outstanding catch. He had to turn around, come back over his shoulder, and bring it in. The result of first down at the 26-yard line. They'll option off the left side, and Gormley loses his footing and goes down and loses about 2 yards. They'll bring up 2nd down and 12. As we mentioned, plenty of rain this week. There are a couple slick spots out on the field, especially in the center where you get a lot of play and there's not so much grass. You see some of that dirt exposed here on the turf of Lyle Buell Stadium, and Gormley will check out of the ball game. And now in at quarterback is Eric England. We talked about Gormley had some concussion problems earlier this week, but we'll see if they just talk things over as he fell down on that play. England keeps it himself, tries to get back through the pack. Not much there as he's stopped by that Mustang defense.
Well, Eric England, and he comes in, and as you said, he is the backup quarterback. And Eric England isn't a quarterback that throws particularly well. He is a guy that runs the ball. He's a guy that runs some options and so forth. And I think they just got Gormley out for one play, maybe to settle down and say, hey, this is what we got to do. Let's execute. Let's get out there.
Well, it may have been an equipment adjustment after he fell down on that last play, but he's back in now, 3rd down and 12. And as you saw with England in, they don't play too, they pretty much stick with the conservative offense as he just held it himself. Two-back set, 3rd down and 12. Keith goes into motion, and he'll have to get rid of this one. He finds his tight end close to the first down marker. Nice catch coming across the middle by Matt Shelsta before he's brought down. That's going to be just enough for a first down.
14-yard pickup, and nice play by Gromley. He's now 3 of 4 in this ball game, and Shelsta, he's your tight end, and you just see in there he makes the play. But 62 yards passing so far for Curtis Gromley.
And that's kind of a surprise. Benson's a team that likes to run on the ground, as many high school teams around these parts do, but if they can open up that throw and expose that Mustang defense, they will do just that. Two-back set, wide out, flank to each side. We'll see if they throw on first down. Gormley wants to. He has Marcus Johnson wide open. He made a nice move and lost his man, Mike Ogaz, and a healthy pickup once again. And now deep into Mustang territory, their first serious scoring threat of the day.
That's a 30-yard gain on the play, and Cromley just lets it fly out there. And I tell you, what a great play by Mr. Marcus Johnson. He came back to the ball, didn't let the ball come back to him, but Todd, this is going to be all nullified with the penalty.
Penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage. We'll check in to see what this is, and it's going to be a hold in the backfield nonetheless. So this one will be marked way back, nullify the 31-yard completion, and in fact, they're going to drop this back. It looks like about 10 yards from the original line of scrimmage. They'll bring up first down at 20, and that's a turnaround right there.
Ooh, that can really be called a turnover. It won't count as a turnover, but it could be called a turnover, and maybe that's why Gromley had a couple extra seconds to release that ball. But big play taken back for Benson, and first down at 20.
So they lose 42 yards on the exchange. And now we'll see if they go to the air once again. Gormley tries to opt to the right side. He gets it off to Stella, who has some room across the 30 out to the 34-yard line. Just missed the corner before having lots of room to run if he could have got around. But instead he's brought down and back to the original line of scrimmage for pickup of 10.
Nice pitch by Gromley. Gromley coming into this game only 11 yards rushing. Doesn't run a lot. They get out to Stella. But I tell you, this looked like a big gain. But you saw the closing speed of Millard North's defense, and that's when you know your team's got good speed. You look out there, he's got a big hole. Next thing you know, bam, he's down, he's on the ground. Only picked up 5 yards on the play.
Second down and 15, but he avoided the loss as he is almost brought down at the line of scrimmage. 1:34 remaining. Here in the first quarter at Lyle Buell Stadium here on O2 TV. Man goes into motion. That's Kendon Keith. Gormley, he's had pressure all night, gets it off once again, and he finds Keith across the 45 down near the 40-yard line. Another first down to pick up a 22 yards on the play, and they'll move the chains.
Kenton Keith, he's becoming the wide receiver tonight. 3 catches, 70 yards, and you can see Gromley, he's throwing these balls on his heels. He's just quickly releasing it. That's what they got to do. Hit the quick short post patterns, the skinny posts they call those. Get it in there, make the play, and they're doing a great job.
Benson had to come out tonight and prove that last week against Papillion La Vista, really not a fluke, even though they played him close. A much improved Omaha Benson team, and with a win against a team like Millard North, to really make a statement. 1:06 remaining here. Quarter number 1. Gormley will option very early to Stella across the 40. He's still on his feet across the 30. One man to beat. 20, 10. Down at the 5-yard line. Just lost his footing, or else he would have been in the end zone. And a shoestring tackle right there. Saved 7 points, but great drive right here for Benson.
37-yard run by Mr. Randy Stella. And he's running on a bad ankle. He had the high ankle sprain, and he hasn't played for 2 weeks now. And he's got some fresh legs, and Ray Rose just gets enough. And Randy Stella, Omaha World Herald Super 6, showing us why he's a Super 6 player.
That's what you call it. Not shoestring tackle, but a shirt tackle right there. Ray Rose just got enough of the jersey to bring him down. First down and goal. They mark it at the 7-yard line. Waning minutes of quarter number 1. They'll hand off to Stella across the middle. Touchdown, Benson.
I tell you, Todd, I guarantee you, I have not seen Benson play a lot this year. This was the best drive by far of the year. Talking about a balanced attack. Coach Tapp said, we need to get a balanced attack. And they've had a pretty good balanced attack. Bromley has a good arm. He wants to use them more. When you start passing, Todd, that opens a run. Vice versa, you establish the run, it opens a pass. Best drive by far this year for Benson on a great job. Of course, they had the big penalty, Todd. So you can tack on. They gained 42 yards. Remember, Todd, they started the 7-yard line, 93 yards. plus 42 yards they gained on the big callback. Great offensive drive for Benson.
Steve Harding comes in for the PAT. The placement's down. It's on the tee. Low kick, and it's good. So 35 seconds remaining here in the first quarter of play, and Benson strikes first. Ironically enough, it looked like very early on that this was going to be Millard North's game. 2 early turnovers for Benson, but this time they hang on to the ball and make it pay off.
Randy Stilla, 5 carries, 50 yards, and this team for Benson, 131 yards they have picked up. In North, I tell you, they only have 23 yards. They've been kept very, very quiet.
You see the Benson coaching staff. Lonnie Tapp, he's got to be happy with his troops here in this first quarter. Really have overcome some adversity, especially after that first turnover. It looked like an incomplete pass. They gave it to Millard North and very deep in their own territory, and the Mustangs were unable to convert. They held them on 4th down. So far, a quality quarter for Omaha Benson.
Well, Coach Tapp, he's excited about this team, and even though they started off 1-2, he's saying, hey, we got great athletes. He's saying this year's team has just as great athletes as he did in 1994. That 94 team, of course, went on the state championship game. They lost in that championship game. But this team's got some talent, and we've seen it here early, 7-0 they lead with 35 seconds to go in quarter number 1.
Back deep for the Mustangs to bring this back. Be Ray Rose, who will pick it up at the 10, across the 20, out to the 25, has some traffic, tries to weave through, goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line. 21 yards on the return, and the Mustangs will start at the 30-yard line. So this is the worst field position of the night for the Mustangs. So they'll start at their own 30, make it 29. Nick Pearson back in at quarterback. We've heard a lot about him. 6'2", 200-pound junior. He'll run that wing bone trying to score here in this first half. Goes through traffic across the 30 out to about the 34-yard line. He'll pick up 4, maybe 5 yards on the carry. And this is time for Benson right here to make a defensive stand, buckle down, and try to keep the momentum going.
For Millard North, obviously, after giving up a touchdown, you want to get out there and score a touchdown. If you're the Benson defense, you want to get out there, play hard-nosed, get 3 and out, get back and get back on offensive side.
Well, Millard North not too excited. They will not get a playoff before time expires here in quarter number 1, and it's been a seesaw affair, but as the dust settles here in the first quarter, Benson out in front 7-0.
Real estate. 15 years experience in real estate. A 97% customer referral rate. The best in Omaha.
Van Dieb's customers are so happy with what he does for them.
Do not sell your house without talking to me first. Call me, Van Dieb. I'll give you a free market analysis to tell you what your home is worth in today's market. Find out why I have the best customer referral rating in town.
Dieb Real Estate. 390-6666.
The Appliance Exchange in Bellevue has the largest selection of new and reconditioned appliances you'll find anywhere. Washers, dryers, ranges, and refrigerators all starting under $99. Plus heavy-duty washer-dryer pairs only $188. The Appliance Exchange also features the lowest prices around on new bedroom and mattress sets. Get a new 4-piece bedroom group or a queen-size mattress set for just $148. Same-day delivery and easy credit terms are available. The Appliance Exchange, 36 in Harrison, Bellevue.
Affordable designer and brand name fashions. It's Deja Vu. Deja Vu. Get ready for fall fashions. Deja Vu has great looks for men, women, teens, and children, including affordably priced outerwear. Deja Vu is a unique consignment boutique with new and used clothing. Deja Vu, too, specializes in children's clothing, toys, and accessories, so you can afford the styles you like at Deja Vu Consignment Boutique and Deja Vu 2, the children's edition, just south of Dodge on 114th.
First play of quarter number 2. Todd Walkenhorst, Preston Munch were at Lyle Buell Stadium, and the handoff right away to Pat Ricketts across the 40. That's about the 42-yard line. That should be good for first down yardage.
Well, Todd, you see how the offensive scheme changes for Millard North. Judd Davies, he usually got about a good 60% of the carries, and now really distributing the ball evenly. Joe Corbett, 3 carries. Nick Pearson, 3 carries. And Pat Ricketts, he's had 2 carries. This team, 8 carries, 39 yards, averaging 4.8 carries. So they're doing a good job. Todd, they need a nice long drive and get that defense where there's a little rest.
Millard North has had great opportunities. They began at the Benson 32 on their first possession, at their own 49 on their second. Neither ended up in scores. Pearson keeps it himself, tries to get around the corner, but instead he's met by Michael Johnson, who will bring him down at the 45-yard line before he can get any more yardage, to pick up of 2, maybe 3 yards on the play. Nice job of Johnson to wrestle him down.
Yeah, and Johnson, the key is there. It wasn't the prettiest tackle, but he held him up long enough to get that team defense over there. He got to the point attack, held on to him, and let his teammates with some great speed over there get in there and make the big play and put the stop. And now it's with him 2nd down and 7 after a 3-yard gain.
B.J. Gerke, he'll check back into the Millard North lineup here on 2nd down and 7. He'll line up in the flanker position on the left side. Nick Pearson, it's the wing bone. It's one back, a couple backs on the side, and he hands off to the fullback, Joe Corbett, who gets across the line of scrimmage and gets across midfield. Gets most of the yardage that he needs. They'll bring 3rd down and 1.
Well, Corbett, he fires up the middle of the field. And, of course, taking replace of Davies, does a nice job of getting up in the middle of the field. Millard North Todd, important for them to get a nice, long, sustained drive, give a defense a rest, but also get out there and put some points on the board. And the challenge to them now, they give it up behind. They're behind 7-0. This is unfamiliar ground, being behind. See how they answer back.
This is a team that will usually dominate on the ground, and frustrated that they haven't been able to so far. Right there they do. Joe Corbett finds the hole. He only needed a yard. He picks up 3 out to the 45-yard line. That'll be 1st down for the Mustangs.
But when you have an offensive line like Freeman, Quant, Ivner, Paula, and Aaron, you know, those guys, you got a huge line. You got a senior late line. Follow their lead, and they're making a huge lead right now. And Todd's going to be interested to see how this Benson defensive line, very undersized on that 5-2 defensive scheme, holds up as we get in the 3rd and the 4th quarter.
They've managed to force a turnover on downs and a punt, but really the defense for the Bunnies so far hasn't been dominating, so to speak. Pearson, he'll keep it himself. Tries to find room. There is none. A flag comes in late. That's in the backfield. We'll see if that's a hold on the Mustangs. We'll go down and check in with our officiating crew, and it will be holding against Millard North, and that will back them up. Flag thrown at the 46-yard line. They'll mark it from somewhere around there. It'll be a 1st down, about 21 yards to go if that flag is accurate. Actually, they'll move it back right now.
Well, Todd, they're talking about the penalties have hurt Millard North this season, and that's their 3rd penalty, and that will mark them off for 27 yards. That has cost them, so that's something they need to do a better job of. And I tell you, right now, it's penalties that are stopping Millard North.
So they move it from the Benson 45 to the Millard North 45. They lose 10 yards on that. They'll bring up 1st down and 20 yards to go. And we'll see how this affects them right here. It's tougher to run that run when you have these 1st and long situations, as they do right here. Millard North not really known for their passing. They hand off to Corbett back to the line of scrimmage, where he is stacked up by a herd of Bunnies.
Give a great pursuit by the defensive line. They get up, and this is this defensive line and offensive line for Benson. They don't have to win the wars, but at least stay even with this team. And I don't think they're expected to win the battle of the trenches. Just stay even. You can see there, they met the challenge, hit the point attack, gain of 1 yard, sets up 2nd down at a long 19.
2nd down and 19 yards to go. Clock continues to run. It's been a very quick 1st half so far. 9:10 remaining here in quarter number 2. They fake the handoff to Corbett. Pearson hands it off very late to Ricketts. Ricketts tries to find some room on that right side and picks up 1 more yard. It'll be 3rd and a very long 18 yards.
Todd, this is what you call a 13-man defense, and what they do is they string out this defense. Got 11 men on the field. Use your sidelines as number 12 and number 13. Benson's got good team speed. They said they want to string this out, force it to the sidelines, let the players catch up and close that gap. They do it, and a great job on the defense.
And you see number 2, Michael Johnson, in on the stop again. He's a wideout on offense and plays kind of a safety position on defense, and he's been able to read that option very well so far here tonight. 3rd down and 18 yards to go.
He's coming up from his cornerback position, doing a great job.
We'll see what they do on 3rd and 18. Will they run? No, they're going to run option to the left side. Pearson keeps it himself, and he pays for it as coming in and putting a big hit on him was Kenan Keith, who's had a big night offensively so far as well.
Yeah, Kenan Keith, and great acceleration, a tough kid, and you can see why he is one of the top players as well in the state. This is coming right out your living room. A look out for number 34. We'll put a stop right there to him, and Nice play there, Mr. Excuse me, for Randy Stelling.
Well, Millard North will have to punt once again. And Preston, you and I have done a lot of games in the last few years, a lot of Millard North games, and this is probably the most contained we have seen this Mustang offense in quite some time. B.J. Gerke comes in, he kicks it through the end zone. As soon as it hits that end line, it's a touchback in high school, and no return as it'll be brought out to the 20.
We saw the huge hit by Randy Stella. Stella, he's the type of player. His style of play on defense and offense is very physical, and he says, hey, that he wants to make sure that guys who got the ball knows he was there. And I think quarterback Nick Pearson knows he was there. And it's the same kind of mentality he takes on the offensive side. He says, hey, I don't like being hit. He goes, I like to do the hitting. And that's the mentality he has, and that's why he's going to be a big-time college player.
The quarterbacks really don't like either when on 3rd and 18. That option gets called, and they have to try to get themselves. They are a moving target, and he was there. First down and 10 from their own 20. They hand it off. There's Kenton Keith across the 20 out to the 25-yard line. Healthy gain on first down. They'll bring up second down and 4.
And Kenton Keith has been quiet. Only 3 carries, 3 yards for Kenton Keith. Last year, he rushed for nearly 1,200 yards, 1,199 to be exact. 18 touchdowns, which was second best in Class A last year. A little shaking and bacon. He gets by one guy and gets up, picks up 5 yards.
He used Kenton Keith kind of as a decoy. He'll go into wideout position every once in a while, but really opens up the running of Randy Stella. And watch for him to put down a couple key blocks as well. Stella goes into motion on second down and 4. They hand off to Keith. Quick handoff, back up through the pack, maybe a yard. This will bring up third down about 3. So now the Johnsons will check back in for Benson. Marcus Johnson, number 1, number 2, Michael Johnson. They are both wide receivers on this 3rd down and 4 situation. An obvious throwing situation, most likely. 6:30 remaining as the clock continues to roll here in the first half of play. Marcus Johnson lines off in the wide out on the right side. His brother, Michael Johnson, in the flanker. And they'll go to Michael Johnson. He picks it up at the 40. And if he gets by him, he has a lot of grass to go. 30, 20, 10. Touchdown, Benson. And on that, 74-yard touchdown completion. And as soon as he beat his man at midfield, there's no challenge.
Yeah, and you got that man-to-man coverage over there, and as you said, you beat him, you're gone, and he's got great speed, and he beats him, and he, in fact, is gone, and Gromley connects, and Gromley is on target tonight. He is 5 of 6 with that completion, and he's off to the races, and he picks up a big chunk, 74 yards for a touchdown. They lead 13-0.
Not much there. He looks back. The closest man to him was Mike Ogaz, and he was not going to get him. Here's Steve Harding for his second point after of the night. Placements down. Kick is up. And the Benson Bunnies on the road out in front of Millard North, 14-0. Quite a crowd out here tonight, and a lot of blue and white. Millard North, obviously, their home field. Trying to defend it, but right now they're on their on the benches and quite quiet so far.
Curtis Gromley, and this is a guy, he was questionable if he was going to play. He had a concussion last week, held out of practice. It's mandatory, and they got to wait 1 week to give him another checkup to see if he's okay. They checked him up today. He's okay to play. I tell you, Coach Lonnie Tapp said, thank God he is. He's 5 of 6. He's thrown for 158 yards and a touchdown, and right now he is on target. 5 of 6, that's 83%.
And as you mentioned, he did not practice all week, and sometimes you wonder how they will perform when they come into a game without practicing all week, especially when it's in one of those skilled positions like quarterback.
He's done a great job, and Benson right now in control, and you said Millard North very quiet and subdued here in the first half.
Millard North had their chances, a couple of early turnovers for the Bunnies. Short kick will be picked up by Rick Merrill at the 15, across the 25, driven out of bounds. Marcus Johnson on the stop, and Millard North will start at their own 27-yard line as he drove them into the Benson bench. And those Benson Bunnies are kind of on a high right now, up by 2 touchdowns.
That's right, and the momentum is only going more and more towards their side as this game goes on. They're the underdog, and as the time goes on, the longer they stay in this game, the better chance they have of winning, and they know that. They're up 14-0, and I tell you, they're pumped. The hitting is fierce. You can hear it at home. You can see it on TV. We have the video to prove it. There it is, and a big hit put on there by Marcus Johnson.
First down and 10. They start at their own 28. They hand off once again to Corbett across the 30 out to the 32, maybe 33-yard line. He'll pick up 3 or 4 yards on the carry. And Millard North's done a good job picking up 3 or 4 yards on the first down. It's been after that, though. They just haven't been able to keep these drives going.
Yeah, and they have 61 total yards, and all of them on the ground on 15 carries. And this team, I think, Todd, sadly to say, I think we're seeing a big a hole in that backfield. And Davies is, I think he's being truly missed right now. They're trying to make up for it. Davies, 128 yards a game. He's average. Last game, he only had 3 carries, 96 yards. That's the impact he makes on the offensive side.
5:28 remaining in the first half, and the Mustangs desperately want to get some momentum going into halftime. And a big-time carry right there by Jason Apin. Bounces off a couple of bunnies and gets out to the 40.
That's his first carry, and I'm surprised we have not called his name more. Really all season long. And Apin on the season, he's only had the ball for a handful of times. Got great speed, a 4.6 electronic 40, and he shows it there. And I tell you, first down, 5:16, 5:15 to go here in the first half.
Tough shoes for Nick Pearson to fill. He's filling those shoes of Eric Krause, trying to run that option. He gets stacked up right there, and we have a flag coming in. Nick Pearson wants a face mask, and I think he'll get it.
Yeah, that's really an unneeded, face mask. You had him wrapped up, and you had teammates there to help him. No need for the face mask, and they get a call. And these are the type of penalties that you cannot have with 5 minutes to go in the first half.
Well, Benson had 3 men on Nick Pearson and really didn't need to be aided with the face mask. And they're really costly in high school. They all are 15-yard penalties. The face mask at the high school level. No unintentional face mask here. So this will bring them down to Benson territory, down to the 43. The Bunnies on their heels try to stop this drive. DJ Gerke comes back in one more time. He's been quiet, but he'll line up in the flanker on the left side. Nick Pearson again to his fullback, Joe Corbett, across the 40 down to the 36-yard line. Give him 5, maybe 6 yards on that carry on first down.
Well, you can see this is just the old traditional 21 dive. Get it straight up the middle. Corbett, and you can see how he drives those legs. And the 5'11", 205-pound senior getting his first start of the season, taking over Davies, who done a nice job. 8 carries, 30 yards so far.
Clock continues to run. 4:08, 4:07, and counting. Taking a long time between plays to try to milk the clock and get this drive successful. A late pitch by Pearson, and very dangerous pitch. And now a flag comes in very late. We'll see what this play is. You have to figure it's on the defense.
And if it's face mask again, an unneeded face mask, and again, another penalty on Benson. I tell you, for Pearson, 2 things. First of all, the great athletic ability to be able to pitch his ball, but second of all, very dangerous play. If that ball's picked or if he's hit and it's on the ground, that could be 7 for Benson. And Todd, another huge penalty, 15-yard face mask once again on Benson.
Well, that's 30 yards in face mask penalties right here on this drive. And Millard North will take. It'll be first down and 10 at their 23-yard line. And Benson cannot self-destruct like this.
Yeah, they're really, right now, 4 penalties, 44 yards, and they're really self-destructing.
Coming off is Marcus Johnson. Looks like he's coming off kind of slowly. He took his helmet off, and he's had a big night, and so has his brother, Michael Johnson. First down and 10 at the 23. They hand off one more time to Corbett. Across the 20, still on his feet, bouncing off them bunnies. Finally, he's brought down after picking up maybe 4 yards.
Well, Corbett, talking about, he's a hard runner, and I tell you, doesn't have the greatest speed. Size-wise, he's 205 pounds, only 5'11". Just keeps the legs moving, and that's key. You can see Benson trying to hit him high, Todd. You and I know, hit the guy low. That's where you got to hit these guys, and finally they wrap him up. It takes 4 bunnies to wrap him up, and I tell you, he had bunnies all over him on his back and his sides, and it's always never good to have bunnies on your back.
Benson will call their first time out of the first half and talk things over right here. Millard North has not had a highlight reel offensively here in the first half. They're stopped on downs on their first possession, and the next 2 were stopped on punts.
Well, it's been all on the ground, and you got to believe to the point, Petito, I know he's going to stay the run game as long as he can. They've had 19 plays, 18 of the plays have been on the ground, and they've 0 for 1 as far as attempts at passing, and right now 78 yards, and it's all on the ground.
Keep it tuned to O2 TV. We have more high school football coming up next Sunday. Right here, same time, 4:30 p.m. Papillion La Vista and Millard South right back here at Lyle Beal Stadium. I'll tell you what, that will be a contest. Millard South playing some good ball. Papillion La Vista has not let off from last year as they are defending state champions.
They only have a 16-game winning streak, and of course that is a rematch of that state championship game at Memorial Stadium. And Coach Marty Going and Coach Sir, great teams once again. And Marty Going's team is starting to get better. They're young, but they're starting to play very well right now.
2nd down and 6 yards to go. Pearson, option to the right side. He has a man. He tucks it under himself, though. Gets maybe to the 20. Back to the line of scrimmage. He'll bring up 3rd down and 6.
34, Randy Stella. We talked about watch out for him. He's a first-team All-Nebraska selection, a linebacker last year. Comes up with the big play here. He's a guy, Mr. Solo, you call him. 109 tackles, 72 of them were solo tackles. Picked up another one there. Sets up 3rd down and 6.
You have to figure the Mustangs do not want to settle for a field goal on this drive. They've been pushing them bunnies back this entire drive so far. 3rd down and 6, a critical play. Pearson takes the snap, tries to find a hole. The hole's not there, but he's going to make one across the 15. Just shy of the 14. He had to get to the 14. This is going to be very close, but I think he's about a foot short.
I think even if he is short, Coach Petito, they'll go for it. Even though Gerke is a good field goal kicker, this will be about a yard short. Got to go for it, down 14-0 at home.
They had this opportunity earlier in the first quarter, and on 4th down and 1, they went for the pass. They went for it all in the end zone. We'll see what they do right here. It was incomplete, and they turned over on downs. Coming in on the left side, Spencer Southwell. Wing-bone formation and movement on an offensive line coming up early out of his stance. Colin Caldwell, that's going to cost him 5 yards, and that is a big penalty.
Quarterback sneak is what you expected. That's what they called. And on that play, you got to be ready as a line. 99% of the time on a quarterback sneak situation, they're going to go on the first down. They're going to take it on a snap, first snap, and right there, Caldwell went, and that's 5 yards timeout. Sets up a 4th and 6. Now that really changes the complex of things, and now Benson's going to take a timeout.
Benson uses their 2nd timeout. If they can stop him right here on 4th down, they're going to have 2 minutes to try to go down and see if they can put something else on the board. Maybe even try to increase this 14-point lead going into halftime.
Well, when you got a quarterback like Romley, who's 5 of 6, 158 yards with the touchdown, got the hot hand, and you got the tools of the Johnson boys and Kent Keith and Randy Stella, why not stop it? And all it takes is one play for a touchdown.
Benson talks it over. Let's go down to our man on the sideline, Keith and McCann.
If you notice on the Millard North sideline, the certain gear they're wearing, it's Army Spirit Week. As you can see here, the green fatigue and the nice big crowd here. It's Army fatigue tonight.
Well, I can hardly see him. He's so camouflaged in with them.
And that's it. A little interesting Army gear stuff. That's it. That's why we got Keith McCann out there. He's finding all kinds of good stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Benson continues this onslaught, they may have to call the troops in half number 2. 4th down and 6 yards to go. They will go for it, trailing by 14. Pearson drops back. Looks like he wants to throw. He has room on that right side. Looking for the first down marker. Puts down his head, and he comes right up to it. I believe he has the first down. They're going to stop the clock momentarily to eyeball this one.
Determination and leadership. That's what Pearson brings to this team. And Pearson, what a great job he did here. This is his first year playing on the varsity team, and you look at him, determination. He looks like he's going to be down. He drives right through the wannabe tackler, Eric England. And Pearson, he's a leader. He led the sophomore team to an undefeated season last year, now leaving the varsity team.
First down for the Mustangs. They hand off to Corbett across the 10, down to the 9-yard line. They have all of their timeouts, 1:49 remaining right here. And they do have an opportunity to get a first down before the goal line.
And really just another play they called all day long, right up the middle. The 21 down call that picks up 3 yards. We got 1:37 and counting to put something on the board.
Clock really not a factor as Millard North has their full allotment of timeouts. 2nd down and 7 yards to go. They'll line up in that wing bone once again, wide out. This time lined up on that right side, as you can see. Pearson wants to run option again. A bunch of white shirts, and the ball is thrown down on the ground. And this one will go out of bounds in the hands of Spencer Southwell. or check that, actually, on top of it was Pat Ricketts, but an errant pitch.
Watch the way Pearson's holding the ball. That's something he's got to correct. And I think, I tell you, he's got to get that out of there and cover it up a little better. And there, Ricketts comes up with that recovery. But that's something Coach Petito will work with him.
They may work with him on it right now. 1:09 remaining. Millard North calls their first timeout. They want to talk things over, and this is a big possession for them. Difference going in, down by 2 touchdowns and down by just 7 points. Really monumental. You got to get something positive going here in the first half, because so far nothing has been offensively.
Yeah, and as you said, they got to put something on the board here, and you got to believe they'd like to put 7 on the board. They haven't had great success going down the field. Todd, this has not been a really great drive. They had one big play on 4th down that picked up the first down, but they've been courtesy of 30 yards on this drive because of penalties, 2 face mask penalties on Benson. So really, it's been Benson who has given them this drive.
3rd down and 7 when we resume play. And Millard North has really had problems on 3rd downs. They've only conversed a couple of them here tonight. They did complete a 4th down earlier on this drive. 69 seconds remaining here in half number 1. Teams come out of their huddles. 3rd down and 7. Ball lined up at the 10-yard line. Nick Pearson under center. He'll bootleg off to the right side. He wants to throw. He'll look for the end zone. Has a man down there, and it hits the ground. The intended receiver was Pat Ricketts, who got open out of the backfield. And talk about a Christmas present once again.
Eric England, he was a player back there in the safety position, and he kind of did a little face guarding, didn't tip the ball, tried to tip the ball, and then just enough hand in the face for Ricketts, and could not come with the play. That's a tough play was a wide receiver. You see the hand in your face, that's blocking the ball, and you're expecting the ball to be deflected, so you're ready to make adjustments. It's not deflected, hits him in the hands, and Ricketts cannot come up with the play.
Very tough play right there. The Millard North fans and team wanted that, but it did not work out. 1:02 remaining. They will go for it on 4th down and 7. Wide out on the left side is B.J. Gerke. Full set of backs in the backfield. They'll option to the right side, and there are bunnies there to cover it. Pearson gets knocked down, loses the ball, but it will not matter. Benson will get it back at the 9-yard line and turns it over on downs. And those bunnies were playing with a lot of heart right there. As you can see them, they left it on the field on that drive.
Well, Todd, bunnies, they have speed, and they're using their speed. They're stretching it out once again. As you can see, they're getting out there, doing a good job of containing the pitch man and containing the running back. And they go out there, and you can see big number 34, Randy Stella, putting on the hit, causing the fumble. And it's Benson's bunny, 1st and 10.
Benson has 1 timeout left, but you have to figure that they will be content just to put this one into the locker room. 53 seconds remaining. Millard North does have 2 timeouts, so Benson can't just kneel down on it. We'll see what they do with the wideout on each side. Back in at quarterback, Curtis Gormley, and just a simple thing. There goes the whistle, and some clock will run.
What's that? It's been impressive first half here for Benson and an unimpressive first half for Millard North. It's been 2 different sides of the coin for both teams, and Benson's coming out here firing. They said, if we need this game, we need to get 2-2. We can't fall down to 1-3.
Now, if they can stop them right here on this play, Millard North does have 2 timeouts left, and they could force at least attempt at a kick out of the end zone right here. Knowing that, Benson will spread it out on 2nd down and 10, try to use as much clock as they can, down to 17 seconds, handoff up the middle, out to the 10-yard line, and Millard North will not call a timeout. 6 seconds remaining, 5, 4, clock is counting, and the Benson fans in attendance stand in appreciation as their bunnies go off the field. There's not many of them here wearing the green and white, more wearing that green and blue, but the ones that are here have made the price of admission in the drive worth their time. Benson leaves the field, surprisingly out in front, 14-0. Let's go down to the sideline. Let's check in with Keith McCann.
Coach Tapp, your Omaha Benson Bunnies played a terrific first half. What did you tell these guys to get them prepared for this football team? You know, for the people who are out there who are not here, they wouldn't believe it. What would you tell these guys?
Went into the ball game thinking 3 goals tonight. Stop the quarterback, stop the fullback, play 8 good quarters. Now we want to play 12. This is the outcome of it so far.
Thank you, Coach. And right now you're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Benson coach, and you have to figure you don't want to be in the Millard North locker room during halftime.
No, and they got some things to work out. Fred Petita, though, veteran coach, he'll iron some things out.
Keep it tuned. We'll come back, second half of play. A lot more football coming up. Benson out in front, 14-0.
Okay, time for a quiz. Where can you find the largest display of spas and pools in Nebraska? Superior Spa and Pool. Who carries Doughboy above-ground pools? Superior Spa and Pool. And a large selection of jacuzzi spas? Superior Spa and Pool. Okay, what about Conley pool tables? Superior Spa and Pool. So for extra credit, who's Nebraska's full-service pool store? Superior Spa and Pool, 132nd and L. They're the answer to your spa and pool questions. You pass.
Hey, Omaha, your all-in-one music headquarters is Dietz Music. Dietz carries a full line of instruments, amplifiers, keyboards, and home recording units from the students to the professionals, like PRS and Hamer guitars, Stevie and Mesa amps, plus a wide variety of wind instruments from Selmer, Bach, and Yamaha. Dietz Music's qualified technicians can even repair your broken instrument. Dietz also offers quality music lessons in one of the largest sheet music inventories in Omaha. Your music headquarters is Dietz Music, 121st and West Center in Bel Air Plaza.
Tonight's halftime performance is sponsored by Dietz Music House, 121st and West Center in the Bel Air Plaza. Tonight's halftime performance was sponsored by Dietz Music House at 121st and West Center in the Bel Air Plaza.
Hey, Omaha, your all-in-one music headquarters is Dietz Music. Dietz carries a full line of instruments, amplifiers, keyboards, and home recording units from the students to the professionals, like PRS and Hamer guitars, Peavey and Mesa amps, plus a wide variety of wind instruments from Selmer, Bach, and Yamaha. Dietz Music's qualified technicians can even repair your broken instrument. Dietz also offers quality music lessons in one of the largest sheet music inventories in Omaha. Your music headquarters is Dietz Music, 121st and West Center in Bel Air Plaza.
Affordable designer and brand name fashions. It's Deja Vu. Get ready for fall fashions. Deja Vu has great looks for men, women, teens, and children, including affordably priced outerwear. Deja Vu is a unique consignment boutique with new and used clothing. Deja Vu, too, specializes in children's clothing, toys, and accessories, so you can afford the styles you like at Deja Vu Consignment Boutique and Deja Vu 2, the children's edition, just south of Dodge on 114th.
Hello? What do you find scary? Pay attention. It's the nation's scariest haunted house.
Scream, the haunted house with Hollywood special effects. Freddy, Jason, pneumatics, digital sound. The Scream. It's your worst nightmare come to life. Visit The Scream at Screamworks, 73rd and Blondo. From the edge. From the edge. I dare you.
Well, at least a couple people do. Todd Walkenhorst, Preston Munch, Keith and McCann join us back here at Lyle Buell Stadium. And talk about your cross-promotion.
Secondary admission.
Never heard of it.
On O2 TV.
14-0 here, going into the second half of play, and it's been all Benson so far trying to come up with the upset over number 2 Millard North. And Millard North really just has to improve some of the fundamentals, get a couple of key passes here and there. And whoever.
Todd Sanford, one of the hosts of Secondary Admission, doing a great job putting that show together.
It's watched a lot. Classic show. Unfortunately, I'm not an O2 TV subscriber, but I'm sure it's a great show anyways. Let's take a look at some of the first half stats here in just a second, but it's really been the ground game of Benson that's really got them over the threshold so far.
You take a look at the rushing, and of course, Millard North, no surprise there, it has the lead. The passing yards, 158-0. Bromley, as you take a look at him there, he is 5 of 6, and he has been on target. Take a look at total yards, and as it goes down, everything in favor of the Bunnies of Benson, and a couple of costly penalties for both teams on the side, but right now it's Benson at 14-0. Millard North's got to get something going. 96 yards rushing is all they have. They came into the game averaging 321.
Benson did a great job, and Millard North, they really had to score on that last possession of the first half. They were aided by 2 15-yard face mask penalties. They gave them 30 free yards, but still could not get in the end zone. And Benson really has to be on cloud 9 coming out here for half number 2.
Yeah, and been interesting to see what Coach Petito said there at halftime to his players. And I think he's saying, hey, guys, you're looking flat out there. Let's get some energy. Let's get out there and get playing like we have in the first 3 weeks. And we're off to a 3-0 record, but if we don't watch it, we're going to drop to 3-1.
Millard North, they've had some problems every once in a while in the regular season the last couple of years, but it's usually been to the crosstown rival, Millard South. And Omaha Benson, they've had a rough couple of years, but as we mentioned, they've been playing pretty well this year. And even though injuries have plagued them so far, you can't really tell here today. Everybody's having a game of the season so far.
Yeah, last year they were 4-6, and like you said, they've been about a 50-50 team in the last couple of years since their 94 state finalists showing, and this year they're 1-2. It looks like, you know, maybe they're going to fall again into that 500 year, but they've turned things around, and they had a strong game against Papio. Right now they lead 14-0 over a very good and number 2 team, Millard North.
Ray Rose, along with Jason Apin, will be back deep for Millard North as we get ready for the second half, and Benson will give it up to Millard North to start things off, and Millard North has to come out and really try to establish something right here. They look at the scoreboard, there's a big goose egg right now.
Yeah, and they need to go out here and establish something now on this first drive, get something going, put some points on the board, and get a drive. And, you know, Tom, we saw them drive all the way down to inside the red zone. They didn't score, but that was courtesy, as you said, of the face mask penalties, the 15-yarders. That was 30 yards. And Tom, we're ready to stick and get this second half going, 14-0, and we'll swing it back to my main man, your play-by-play announcer, Todd Walkenhorst.
Thanks, Preston Munch. Steve Harding will put his big right foot into it to get our second half started, and we'll see what kind of momentum, at least from the kicker, after a great first half for the Benson Bunnies, as they are out in front by 2 touchdowns, 14-0. As we mentioned, Ray Rose, along with Jason Apin, back very deep for the Mustangs at their own 5-yard line. As Harding puts this one into play, it'll be Rose taking it at the 6, across the 10, out to the 15, to the 20. Tries to find some room still on his feet across the 25, out to the 26, and a flag comes in on top of the pile on that far sideline. So we'll check in on the field for the penalty, and again, it's another face mask penalty on the Benson Bunnies, and that adds a 15-yard penalty to the end of that return. And that'll put it across midfield for the Millard North Mustangs, actually the 41. Let's go down the sidelines, check in with Keith and McCann.
Yes, and speaking to Coach Fred Petito from the Millard North Vikings, he told me that the Omaha Benson Bunnies are doing everything that they showed him in the scouting reports. It's just they got a lot of great players, and they're making a lot of good plays, and he's hoping that his defense will play better the second half.
Thanks, Keithan, and they do need to pick it up a little bit. 2 touchdowns, that's the hill to climb. They hand it off to the I-back. Once again, Corbett across midfield, out to near the 45-yard line before he is brought down. Coming in on the stop for the Benson Bunnies, Kendon Keep makes that stop, but that's first down yardage right there on the first play of the second half.
This is a question I threw to you, Todd, in the second quarter, is how this defensive line for Benson is going to be able to hold up against this senior-laden, dominated offensive line for Millard North. And maybe we're going to start seeing some wearing and tearing here already here in the third quarter. That line, a huge line led by Jeff Quant, 260, Joe Freeman, 260, and Caldwell at 235, and they're making some big holes. We'll see if that continues.
There is some experience on that defensive line of Benson as well. A couple of seniors and 3 juniors right here. A little more room as they go to Corbett once again. And that actually was a play that's successful in the first half. We were talking to Stu Pospisil during the halftime from the Omaha World Herald, and we were noting some of that ground game was fairly successful. It's just they tried to go to the passing game. As you mentioned, no passing yards.
Yeah, and the big one was a 4th down and 1 inside the red zone. They've been in the red zone twice. They come up with 0 points. And they went for the big play on the 4th and 1, went for the pass to tight end Andy Knorr. They come up empty. That's the thing we all thought, all 3 of us, they should keep on the ground and get the first down.
Wide out on the right side, but first we have a penalty flag come in. Whistles will stop play, and it looks like there's some movement. Looks like maybe Joe Freeman on that offensive line coming out of his crouch a little early. That's exactly what it is. They'll back him up 5 yards.
You know, and in this situation, you can't really be too hard on Freeman. They know they had a bad first half. He's trying to get out there and fire off the line and get off the jump start and get an early block as he had a block off to the left side. And just trying to jump the gun a little too early on center back 5 yards, and it's just second down and 7.
Second down and 7 so far, very early in the second half, but Millard North has moved at will. B.J. Gerke lines up wide to the right side. They'll run to the left, some pressure for Pearson, but he'll tuck it under, picks up a couple of yards out near the 40-yard line, bring up third down at about 4 or 5.
Will Pearson, he came into this game averaging 111 yards, which was 6th best in Class A so far. 9 carries, 39 yards, 4.3 yards per carry, and 25 carries, 120 as a team. That's 4.8 yards a carry. That's a good number, but as we said, Todd, 0 points on the board, not able to capitalize in the red zone.
Millard North has yet to complete a pass in this ball game. Instead, they keep it on the ground once again, trying to pick up that first down. They give it to the fullback, 5'11", 205 pounds of Joe Corbett, and he launches towards that first down marker, and we'll see if he gets it from the spot. It looks like might be just short.
Well, right now, Benson, they play a 5-2 defensive scheme as they'll bring in the change to measure this, and they got 5 guys in that front, and they bring it in 7, 8, and sometimes 9 guys in that front box, and right now, having a hard time stopping the play. And we talked about the battle of the trenches for Benson. Really just want to stay even with this Millard North team. And right now, though, Millard North is starting taking control here in the second half. If that continues, it could be trouble in the second half.
Well, you see him stretch the chains. It's about the length of the football short. So another 4th down situation here for Millard North. They've had a couple already in the first half. They were stopped on downs twice in the first half, and they completed once on 4th down, so they're 1 of 3 on 4th down conversions here tonight. It'll be 4th down and a yard. The ground game's work. We'll see if they go to Corbett. They do. They hand off to him. He has plenty of room across the 35 down to the 34. Needed about 6 inches, picks up about 3 yards.
Corbett's the workhorse, 14 carries, now 68 yards, and it's been on Corbett here in the second half. And Joe Corbett came into the game with only 5 carries, 51 yards. You can see the huge push put forward by that offensive line, and no chance for Benson to put a stop to that. We're starting to see the holes and the push put together by this Millard North offensive line. I believe Petito challenged them here in the second half.
First down and 10 once again. Pearson will run the option to the left side, pitches it off very late. And another dangerous pitch, but the Bunnies were all over it. Kenan Keith comes in on the stop, takes the pitch man out. And no gain on the play.
Well, watch number 32, and again, another dangerous pitch as he puts on here. And it's a good pitch, but it's a dangerous one. And you can see Kenan Keith, he's a big hit.
Hey, regular! Tell him! Marcus, stop!
So it'll be second down and 10.
Okay, great.
And 8:44 remaining here in the first half. Millard North would like to get on the board. Wing bone formation. Handoff once again. This time they give it off to the second option man in that offense, Pat Ritkins. And he picks up maybe 2 yards. They'll bring up third down and 8.
Well, you're seeing this team speed for Benson. Marcus Johnson, that's 6'3" senior. It looked like, again, a huge hole here put together by the offensive line. But look at the closing speed. Marcus Johnson coming from his corner position, wrapping up. And right now, when your team is 0 for 2 in passing, you can send all 11 guys up to the line, to the point of attack, and make the stop, and that's what they're doing. Millard North is going to have to open up the passing game, establish something to open up the running game.
You see that Benson coaching staff shouting out instructions. Pearson looking to throw. He hasn't completed a pass yet. He's going to have to take the sack, and down he will go. Great job by Benson. Call a coverage sack. He looked downfield, and nobody was open. Coming in to take down the QB, Randy James, doing a nice job. The 6'1", 250-pound senior tackle.
Randall James comes in with a big stop here. And I tell you, we just had a covered sack, and they just fire their wheels forward, come in. Shelstead puts the final touches on bringing him down, and that's a punt-force situation here for Millard North. And I tell you, what a great job by Benson on making the big stop there.
B.J. Gerke will come in to punt back deep. Kenan Keith along with Eric England. And he has some pressure. He gets this one off, aims for that near sideline, and this ball will go out of bounds near the 10-yard line. So Benson will get it. Let's check in down with Keith McCann, who's with a key part of that Millard North offense that's missing tonight.
Sitting here with the big fella, Judd Davies, starting fullback for the North Vikings, missing 100, down 14 to zip. You tell us what they need to do to get back in this game.
Offensive line. Offensive line, they got to keep coming off the ball. Try to open up some holes inside. Defense got to be a little bit tougher outside and just keep playing as a team. We just got to go as hard as we can in the second half here.
You heard it from the big fella here, and hopefully they'll come back the second half.
Thanks a lot, Keithan. And Judd Davies, really, he's been missed so far, and Fred Petito is missing him as they just can't quite get that ground game going. The holes are there. They just haven't been able to take advantage. First down and 10 for the Bunnies, and into the end zone, and they'll throw this one away. No receiver there, but no flag will come out.
John, that's a dangerous play, because if that's grounding, that's a safety, because a penalty in the end zone, and whatever penalty it may be, is in fact 2 points. And Brumley, he went out to the outside and fired through to make a big play on him with Bob Cross from his defensive position. He throws this away. As you said, there was nobody there, but they don't throw the flag, and thank God for the Benson Bunnies. That could have been a huge turnaround.
Curtis Gormley has to make sure he's sure of his environment there. He has 10 yards to work with, and he dropped all the way back well into that end zone. As you mentioned, he did the smart thing getting rid of it, but a penalty there would result in 2 points. Gormley will pitch off this time to Keith. Near the goal line, out back towards the 10, tries to find the 15, and he is wrestled down. Picks up about 4 yards, but it's positive yardage. Bring up third down about 6.
Well, Ken Keith's been kept in check so far tonight. 5 carries and 8 yards, 1.6 yards per carry. They pitch it out to him, and you see the speed of Frost and Merrill to get on the outside. Merrill can't wrap him up, and I tell you, Ken Keith and Randy Stiller, those are type of players you believe they take bats and Vaseline. They're so hard to wrap up, and finally takes 4, 5, 6, 7 guys to wrap him up to bring him down. Third down and 6.
So a big third down right here. If Millard North could stop, they could get this ball back in pretty good field position, trailing by 14. White out on the left side for the Benson Bunnies. And pressure as they hand it off right there. And the ball comes loose inside the 5, but there was a whistle. They're going to say that that ball was down first before that ball came loose.
And what a great play. Watch Mr. Bob Cross, number 32. He gets in there, forces the pitch, and then he makes the tackle. Essentially, he had the quarterback and the running back, and he wraps him up and makes a huge stop. And I don't know what was going on there. And that pitch, not a smart idea.
It looked like he tried to pitch it again and wasn't down, but luckily that whistle came in. But Millard North, defensively, stopping him 3 and out. They're going to get this ball back on the Benson side of the field, most likely into punt. Here for the Benson Bunnies, the kicking unit, and a foot put in by Mike Fogelman. Coming in taking it is Apin at the 50. He has room on that left side across the 40, and a shoestring tackle brought down at the 38-yard line.
Todd, one of the biggest blocks we have seen this year. I don't know if our camera crew got it. Ron Eidler, 6'1", 220 pounds, number 51. Watch the block he puts on here, and hopefully that crew held that long enough to get it. And you might see the guy come flying out. Boom, there he goes. He was flying out. And the Benson player took him a good about 30 seconds to get up and go upfield. But Jason Apin, on those plays, he's got to run more north and south to get upfield. He goes east and west and only picks up about 10 yards on the return.
Benson will call a timeout with 5:22 remaining here in the third quarter. And maybe just trying to give them a little rest as a quick offensive series for the Bunnies. They want to make sure they don't give up anything cheap right here out in front, 14-0. Upcoming next week, next Sunday, same time, same place right here on your home for Metro Conference Football, O2 TV. Papio and Millard South, a rematch of last year's Class A state championship game. You and I saw it down there at Memorial Stadium. Millard South really has something to prove, and it's a huge game either way. As you mentioned, a long winning streak for Papillion La Vista. Going to have a challenge next week.
Papio, for somehow, Todd, they're a team that doesn't rebuild, they reload. Same with Millard South. Millard South, they had a JV team that's gone 36-0, and that streak continues, and they're using those players now to fuel the fire on the senior team this year, and the varsity team for Millard South. And, of course, Gene Sir knows where to find the players. He's got a transfer player from Missouri who's done a great job at Mr. Davies. In the running back position, Tyler Davies from Missouri. He's a big-time running back. Papio is back, and I don't think they ever left. They're 16-0. They've won 16 straight.
Always a tough program around these parts, much like a couple of these Millard schools as well. Nick Pearson, he still has it. He wants to complete a pass. He has Gherkin down there and nearly intercepted. Coming in for the Benson Bunnies, Lowell Brownfield. And he had a couple of opportunities at it as he first tipped it up and nearly brought it in. Instead, it goes as an incomplete pass.
B.J. Kirky, he was wide open, and he had his defender beat. And Pearson, not known as the passer between him and Nord, and this one just left a little short. And there's no wind tonight, so he didn't have to throw in the first wind. He had him beat by a good 3 to 4 yards, just didn't get enough there into the ball.
So no gain on the play on the incomplete pass. Will be second down, and a Benson Bunny did not get off the field in time. That's going to cost them. 12 men on the field. Makes it a little easier to get that man down. Travis Brooks, maybe not sure what the play was, but he came running off, and Millard North very wisely snapped the ball before he could.
Pearson, we talked about his great leadership and his smartness on the field, and he knew it, and he quickly called the play, and that will cost some yards against Benson.
So not much gain on the play, but there'll be 5 yards and a replay of down. Legal participation is the call. 12 men on the field. They'll repeat second down as they move it up 5 yards. It'll be second down and 5 on the play. The near sideline, Chris Gormley, the quarterback, is trying to keep his arm a little loose. He hasn't had too many chances out there in the second half of play. More pressing of an issue. Hand off to the fullback once again. They get out near the 30-yard line. They'll bring up a third down and short situation as Joe Corbett picks up a couple more. And he's been a busy man tonight.
15 carries, 70 yards on the evening, and he has been busy. I think it must have the carries for the team. Pearson has 10 carries, and Rick gets 5. And Jason Apin, a guy that has some great speed, only 1 carry, 6 yards so far tonight.
Third down and 2, 4:30 remaining here. In the third quarter, they hand off to Corbett. He finds a first down marker. He finds a couple more as he dives to the 25-yard line, picks up about 5 yards on the play. It'll be first down again for the Mustangs. It seems like all night long Millard North has had success running the ball, just hasn't shown up on the scoreboard yet.
Yeah, they are averaging 4.1 yards per carry, which is just ideal for your team. 132 yards on 32 carries, and they're getting the 3 and 4 yards in the first downs, and they're just not finishing it off. And they've been in the red zone twice. They've come up empty, nothing on the boards, and right now they stand at the 26-yard line. Looks like they'll get the red zone once again the third time. We'll see if they can put some boards. Maybe third time's a charm.
First down and 10 once again. Last time on first down, they went to the air. We'll see what they do here. James Whalen checks in at the split end position on the right side for the Mustang offense. The work out of the wing bolt. Pearson options off to the right side, gives it off to Apin, and hasn't had much work today, but he gets down to the 20, inside the 20 to the 19, picks up about 6 yards.
And when you take a look at the play, Kenton Keith, he comes in there and he does his job, fights up the block, and forces the pitch. Someone's got to be there to get the pitch man and get the running back Apin, and no one does, and he gets up there, and that's right into your living room. He picks up 6 yards, and that sets up the second down and 3.
Second down and 3. Spencer Southwell in at the split end position on the right side. They'll give it off up the middle. The Corbett once again gets to the 15 before he is stopped by Randy Stella.
Todd, this is called the old grind-it-out offense. Keep it on the ground, north and south. 21 dive, and the option on the outside is what Coach Petito has gone with, and I tell you, it's worked on this drive. They have worked the clock and the field. We're already down to 3:12 left in this third quarter, and this has been a very, very fast game because both teams have been keeping the ball on the ground.
Benson has only run 3 plays from scrimmage here in the second half. It's been all Millard North. They haven't got on the scoreboard yet, but their offense has been working this defense. They give it to Corbett. He sees the end zone. Touchdown, Millard North. Joe Corbett from 15 yards out gets through a couple of blockers and finds the end zone for Millard North's first score.
Look at the pursuit by the line. Jeff Quant had his man pushed all the way back about 5 yards, and what a great job that offensive line did. We talked about it, Todd. It's going to happen eventually that this offensive line for Millard North is going to wear and tear on Benson's defensive line. We saw in that drive. We'll just see if there's enough time left. There's plenty of time left. 14:57 to go in the game.
Andy Nord in to hold. B.J. Gerke in to kick. He kicks it, but there's a flag on the play. The kick was waved off. We'll see what the penalty was.
We got a score.
And it's going to be a defensive offsides. So that will move it up half the distance to the goal line instead of from the 3-yard line. Looking to try this PAT from 1.5 yards out.
Dead ball.
So actually kind of unfortunate for Millard North. They already made the kick on the first try, but they waved it out. It's a little bit closer now. I guess a 1.5 yard more advantage. Gerke puts his foot into it. It's up. It is good. And they've cut the lead in half to 14-7.
Well, great job by Andy Nord there. That was a high snap from Jeff Quant, who is a great long snapper. That was a little high, but Nord. But that's the flexibility you have when you have an athlete like Nord, who is your quarterback and your tight end. Great hands, gets it, puts it down, and gets the extra point in. Now it's 14-7. Todd, we're seeing a change in this game at the offensive line for North. Starting to take control, something we talked about here in the first half.
Millard North finally showing some signs of offense, actually being able to complete a drive, gets down into the end zone. They've had a couple of drives stall out in the red zone here. Turned it over a couple of times on downs already in this game here tonight. So Millard North, with 2:57 remaining here in the third quarter on the scoreboard, 14-7 in favor of the Bunnies. B.J. Gerke, he's the place kicker. Just put on the PAT, and he will put this one into play. Canton Keith and Randy Stella back deep for the Bunnies. Kick is up. Randy Stella will chase it. Takes it at the 4-yard line, and here he comes. Across the 10, out to the 15. Tries to find room up the middle, but he is denied as Nick Boyer comes in for the stop.
Great tackle by Mr. Nick Boyer. He comes in there, wraps him up. And that's what you want to do. You want to force them onto the inside where your help is. So you can see the containment on the outside for Millard North. They forced them on the inside. And a great job put together by Rick Merrill. He didn't make the tackle. He won't get in the stat book, but he forces it inside. Mr. Nick Boyer is there waiting and wraps him up and brings him down. A nice play by special teams for Millard North.
Worst field position, or second worst field position, make that of the night for the Benson Bunnies as they'll start at their own 16-yard line. 2:51 remaining here in quarter number 3. You start to feel the momentum changing as Millard North a little more inspired, it looks like, on defense. They hand off to the I-back. Picks up maybe a yard, maybe 2 yards. They'll bring up second down in about 8.
You know, Randy Stell and Kenton Keith together, they have 60 yards, but really, Randy Stell had his one long run, and that's been really the brunt of all the runs for Stell and Kenton Keith. They've been held in check, and that's what happened last year for Kenton Keith against Papio, as he was contained after an opening 92-yard touchdown run. He only gained 18 yards on 12 carries after that.
Clock continues to run. 2 minutes and 12 seconds remaining here in the third stanza. Man in motion for the Benson Bunnies, Alex Bennett. And Gormley, almost a broken play as coming in, Shane Schulte makes a stop and brings him to the ground.
Shane Schulte isn't the school's all-time leading tackler for nothing, and this guy, huge tackle he puts on here. 60 solo tackles last year. He gets a little help on this one, but a great job, wraps him up, drives him to the ground, sets up 3rd down and 8.
So Benson trying to avoid going 3 and out for the second time here in the second half. They need 8 yards to continue this drive. Marcus Johnson will wide up on the left side. Eric England lines up wide on the right side. Man in motion. Gormley wants to throw, tries to throw across the middle, in and out of his hands of his tight end, Matt Shelsta. Incomplete. And Millard North wanted the call but did not get it.
We can see here he had plenty of time, and you can see they're doing a quick drop back and pass as that offensive line very fragile, trying to hit it in the quick passes in. You can see a little extracurricular activity by Shasta and Rick Merrill, but no penalty call. Now punt once again, and Millard North defense has shown up here in the second half.
Mike Fogelman did not have much duties in the first half, but this is the second time in as many drives here in half number 2 that he has been called on to kick. He puts a big foot into it. Jason Apin waits for it, and it goes through his hands. This ball's loose. It's down at the 36-yard line. That's where he gets back on top of it. Near disaster as Marcus Johnson got down there very quickly for Benson, but Apin was able to recover.
This is something Apin has struggled with all season long. He had 2 drop punt returns against Millard South in the first week, so that's something he's struggling with, and this really had great field position. Now they're on the 37-yard line. They could have been on Benson's 40-yard line with a decent return.
So 1:16 remaining here in the third quarter, and Millard North with a chance to possibly tie things up a little bit, trailing by 7. Nick Pearson in at quarterback. Pearson hands off to Corbett across the 40, out to the 42 again. Good yardage on first down. Let's check in with our sideline man, Keith McCants.
Benson Bunny's side.
Well, if you can read lips at home, Keithan said there's some happy Benson fans here.
That's right. He didn't say a lot. He just got the cheerleaders screaming and so forth, but we'll try Keithan once again.
Well, it looked like there's a big bunny in his way, and that may have been the problem. Keeper this time for the Mustangs, and again, another first down. And we're starting to see Millard North now get back to that ground game.
Look at the pursuit from the front line, and there is no contact. These players aren't being touched. Corbett or Pearson have not been touched until about 5 yards upfield, and that's great push by the offensive line, getting pancakes in the trenches. And right now, that's where the battle is being won by Millard North. Is in the trenches. You win the trenches, you win the game.
In the first half, it belonged to Benson. Right now, it's belonging to Millard North, and they are on the march once again at the 47-yard line. Pearson hands off to Apin, who's been very quiet. Gets across the 50 down to the Benson 49-yard line. Bring up second down at about 6 or 7.
That's Apin's only his third carry. 17 yards. I tell you, this is old-fashioned grinded-out offense, and they just keep it down there. And the second option, Apron goes on the left side, and they get some big blocks over there on the left side. And great tackle there once again by Randy Stella. Showing his speed, he closes it up, and he makes a big play.
Time's expired here in quarter number 3. Millard North right back into this game as they get the only score of the third quarter. 1 quarter to go, 12 minutes of action. Pull up a chair. Don't go anywhere. 14-7 in favor of Benson.
The Appliance Exchange in Bellevue has the largest selection of new and reconditioned appliances you'll find anywhere. Washers, dryers, ranges, and refrigerators all starting under $99. Plus heavy-duty washer-dryer pairs only $188. The Appliance Exchange also features the lowest prices around on new bedroom and mattress sets. Get a new 4-piece bedroom group or a queen-size mattress set for just $148. Same-day delivery and easy credit terms are available. The Appliance Exchange, 36 in Harrison, Bellevue.
This is a nook. This is a cranny. Mary Cranny, that is. And this is where you'll find something for every nook and cranny of your home. At every nook and cranny in the Bel Air Plaza. Fine handcrafted gifts and decor items in country, Victorian, Southwestern, and holiday designs year-round. Plus hand-painted Victorian furniture, intricate wheat weaving, and a variety of oak shelves at prices that can't be beat. You'll just love what you'll find in every nook and cranny of every nook and cranny. Northwest corner of 120th and West Center in the Bel Air Plaza.
Well, it's a good place to change quarters right at the 50, not a long walk. They change sides of the field, and Pearson has some room. He likes this side. Across the 25, down to the 20, out of bounds. Nearly a late hit as coming in was Randy Stella, but he'll take the yardage as they're inside the 20. They're going to mark him down at the 19-yard line. Pick up a 31 yards on the first play of the fourth quarter.
There's the Mr. Pearson we've been waiting for. Before that carry, he had 41 yards, and now he has 72. So you can see he has been very quiet. But a huge run there. Again, though, set up by that offensive line. Huge hole, Todd. I think you could have ran at least for a first down on that play. Huge hole by that offensive line. Maybe more, but
11:52, 8 seconds elapsed. It's been a good 8 seconds for Millard North. They picked up 31. They hand off to Corbett across the 15-yard line. Down to the 14. There's another 5 yards for the fullback, and being second down and 5 forthcoming.
Well, that carry puts Mr. Corbett over the century mark. 20 carries, 104 yards, and he's just been a workhorse. He's been complete north-south runner, and that's all you need when this offensive line is dominating like they have here in the second half.
Millard North, they keep on just putting it down your throat. It's the same formation every time, that wing bone, and more than likely they do this. They give it the handoff to the fullback, Joe Corbett, and he's got that low center of gravity, and he just keeps those legs spinning and picks up 3 more right there. He'll bring up third down and 2, and we've seen this situation a lot here tonight. In the first half, Benson was able to stop it. Here in the second half, they haven't.
You know, Todd, it's real interesting is that this Millard North offense is much like the Nebraska Cornerstone offense. You know what they're going to do. You know what's coming at them. You still can't stop it. And that's what's the most aggravating part as a player and a coach. You know what they're going to do. You know what they're going to do, on this play here. Just stop it. It's the tough part.
Well, it could happen one more time. They rotate those wideouts, but instead they give it off to Corbett inside the 10. He's down near the 9, and he needed to get to the 9 to get a first down, and they're going to stop the clock, and we may have a measurement forthcoming.
Well, this time he goes off to the left side and fights his way close to a first down, and you got to believe he got the first down. It looks like where they got it, nailing the measure, and in fact another first down.
Randy Stella tried to deny him, but was unable to do so as he gets just inside that 9-yard line. It'll be first down and goal, long 8 yards to go for Millard North. They have a chance to tie this game up with 10:33 to go. Nick Pearson brings his troops to the line of scrimmage. Handoff to the fullback, Corbett. Inside the 7, down to about the 6-yard line. That's a tough 2, maybe 3 yards. It'll be second down and goal from the 6.
Well, this time a nice push by the Benson defensive line to stand up the offensive line and get inside and make the stop. And as a defensive lineman, you want to get in there and you want to get tangled up with an offensive lineman, let your linebackers get in there and make the stop, and that's what they did there. And you got Stella and Keith back there, let them get in there and make the stop. They do. Second down and goal from the 7.
Second down and 7. Do you think they might throw here? No, they keep it himself. Pearson, no one has him yet. He's inside the 5 down, maybe to the 3-yard line. It'll bring up third down and goal.
We're starting to see Pearson's athletic ability really show up here. They're getting the holes finally, and he can use his ability to run the ball. And there, this time he does tuck it away, and you can still see Todd. He carries the ball so loosely from his body, and that's something that Coach Petito and the coaching staff will work on him to get that closer to the body. But can't deny his athletic ability. 13 carries, 77 yards.
B.J. Gerke, a dangerous wide receiver, even though he doesn't have a catch tonight, lined up on the left side in the slot. They send someone else out. They give it to Corbett. Fights for that goal line. Touchdown, Millard North. Great job by Joe Corbett on the entire drive. Found the hole, picked up 3, picked up 4, picked up 5 yards a shot. That time picks up 6 points.
Got just a nice, long, sustained drive here. And this is Joe Corbett with the push on the offensive line and his wheel, his drive. He puts in his second touchdown of the game, and just like that, we're tied at 14 with the extra point if it's good.
A big extra point forthcoming for B.J. Gerke. Andy Nord will be in on the hold. Here's a placement. The kick is up and good. 9:04 remaining in regulation, and for the first time since 0-0, we're tied up once again.
You know, Todd, and this is something for this Millard North team, to give them a lot of credit. Sure, Davies very much hurt this team, that hurts their team. But this is a team, Millard North, that's a very balanced team. So far in only 3 games, 8 different players have scored a touchdown in only the first 3 games, which is remarkable. And that shows you the balance of this team. And now Corbett has come in. He's filled in very nicely. 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that's the balance and the depth this Millard North team has.
Well, this is why this is the game of the week. 14 all, 9:04 remaining here in fourth quarter. Next week should be a good one as well. It's the rematch of the 1996 state championship game, Papio against Millard South. 4:30 next Sunday, right here on O2 TV. Brand new ball game. We're all tied up at 14, 9:04 remaining. B.J. Gerke, he just tied it up with the extra point, and he'll put it back in play from the 40-yard line. Stella and Keith back deep for the Bunnies. A high end-over-end kick, and Keith will take it. Picks it up at the 7, across the 15 to the 20. Can't find the hole, and he is leveled to the ground by Andy Biga, who comes in and puts a Biga hit on him.
Biga, 5'9", 175 pounds. He takes on 5'11", 186-pound Kenton Keith, and Biga wins this battle. And I tell you, Stella and Keith like to put the hits on this time. They get the hit, a nice stick. You see the momentum switch hugely in this game.
8:57 remaining, and Millard North has shut down this attack. Benson 3 and out. They've only had 2 offensive possessions. Benson went 3 and out on their first possession here in half number 2. Did it again towards the end of the third quarter, and right now we're going to have a timeout on the field.
Right now we're playing where's Waldo, where's Coach Petito, and there he is. He was hiding from us and taking a look, and he's talking to his players as the coaching staff of Benson talking to him.
.57 remaining, and Benson, to say the least, needs to try to get something going offensively, and is that passing game that really propelled them in the first half, and we haven't seen that yet here in half number 2.
No, they haven't bring any playbooks with any plays with passing on their mind yet, and we'll see if they get something going here in the fourth quarter.
They'll spread it out to the right side. Marcus Johnson in the wideout on the right side. man in the slot as well. They'll throw over to the right side to Eric England, and he tried to come up with it, nearly had it, but nice coverage by Ray Rose, and that one will fall incomplete.
Well, Gormley hit him where you want to, and that's between the numbers. In England, he cannot come up with the play. Great protection. He's going to take a hit here, but he had enough time to throw this one, and it was a play he needs to make. England does, especially when you're down, when you're tied at 14 apiece, and Millard North is rolling down the field. Benson's got to do something, Todd, offensively. Maybe not put points on the board, but at least get downfield and make it a little more tougher for Millard North to score and give your defense some rest. They've been on the field the whole second half.
England checks out after that incomplete pass. Be second down and 10. Curtis Gormley takes the snap, fakes the handoff, and he wants to throw. He has some pressure, nearly finds Keith, but falls incomplete once again. And that play just did not look good all the way.
No, it did. And when you take a look at this, when Gormley fakes the pitch, he winds up, but they want to hit Kenton Keith over here on the short side of the field. And nice play here by Joe Corbett as he feeds off. He reads the play. He sees that they want him to suck in along with the defensive line. Corbett does a nice job, sets it up, and defends the play very nicely. Sets up a third and a very long 10 on their own 20-yard line.
Kenton Keith almost coming up with the acrobatic catch, but instead, third down and 10. 8:46 remaining here in regulation. Two-back set, wide out on each side for the Bunnies. Gormley takes the snap, wants to throw, has pressure again, looks downfield, can't find his man, but we're going to have pass interference on Jason Apin as he was trying to cover Kenton Keith.
Well, that's speed on speed, and right there, Mr. Keith wins that battle. Gormley drops back. And this offensive line is doing a good job of pass protection. And Coach Lonnie Tapp says, hey, running-wise, our line hasn't done very good. He said pass protection-wise, this team has done a very good job in giving Gormley some time. And they do there. And the big penalty sets up first down.
Millard North thought that they had stopped Benson once again, 3 and out, but instead the pass interference will advance it 15 yards and bring up an automatic first down. The ball spot now at the 35-yard line, and Benson needs to take advantage of this break, the second life here on this drive, and see if they get something going.
Big penalty. That's a fifth penalty for 50 yards on Millard North. But like you said, new life for Benson. They got to take it and capitalize on the mistake of Millard North.
Clock down to 8:42 left in regulation. Marcus Johnson lines up wide right. Eric England in the slot. Two-back set. Keith and Randy Stella. They throw over to England. He gets it this time at the 35. Tries to find the 40. He will not. Brought down at the 37-yard line. Again, Apin on the coverage along with Ray Rose.
So this one just a quick screen out here in the flats on the short side of the field. But Ray Rose, good closing speed, wraps him up. And he gets help from his teammates. And now Gormley, after 5 and 6 in the first half, he's 6 of 11 here total in the game with 161 yards passing.
Second down and 8 at the 37. Gormley puts the man into motion. That's Eric England. And off to Keith. Across the 40, you almost had some room, but could not get around the corner. Instead had a wall. Mike Ogaz there who knocks him out of bounds, just short of the first down marker.
Okay, for Keith, what a quiet night it's been for him. 7 carries, 14 yards. And here he takes a pitch on the outside and uses his speed, and not many players would have got out of that situation. There was 3 guys in the backfield for Millard North. Uses his speed, gets on the outside, and though when you're on that short side of the field, not much room to work with. And again, talking about that 13-man defense, Millard North uses their sideline to their advantage, sets up a 3rd and 1.
Short yardage situation for the Bunnies. Two-back set. Keith goes into motion. That leaves Randy Stella back there. We'll see if they go to him. They give it to him across the 45. That will be good for a first down as he gets out to the 46-yard line, and that will continue this drive. It's been a tale of 2 halves so far. Benson dominating the first half. Millard North had a chance as there's a couple of early turnovers, 2 of them to be exact for Benson, but Millard North unable to come up with any points. We're not up at 14 right now as Millard North has responded with 14 unanswered points here in the second half. See Lonnie Tapp, Benson's head coach, concerned, trying to get some offense going right here on this drive. So far, they're looking for midfield. Gormley steps back, and he launches this one in the air, up for grabs, and Marcus nearly comes up with it.
Nice job by
Marcus Johnson, but instead, or make it Michael Johnson, but instead, double coverage down there for Millard North, and they're lucky to get this one back.
Michael Johnson became a defensive back on this play. And as a wide receiver, of course, your first option is try to catch the ball. But in a situation like this, on this touch pass, if you can't make the play and you think the defense is, you get in there and break up the pass. Sticks his hand in there, breaks up the pass, and doesn't let Ray Rose make the pick. And a big stop there, and Coach Longetap looking on. 2nd and 10. We'll see what tricks they pulls out of the hat. Tied at 14 with 7:28 to go with the number 2 team in the state.
Marcus Johnson lines up wide right. Michael Johnson lines up wide left. 2-back set once again. 2nd down and 10. Gormley takes a snap, play action. This play almost never happened as Brad Tarr comes in with a stop behind the line of scrimmage.
Brad Tarr is not a big guy. When you look at this guy, he was only 6'1", 175 pounds. Great speed, though, with Tarr. We haven't called his name much. When we did the first game of the year, Millard South, Millard North, we called his name every play. That time, Tarr gets in there, makes a huge play, and sets up a long 3rd down and 18. And we'll see what the coaching staff for Benson calls on this one. And it's going to be an interesting call. You find a way, Todd, I think, to get this hands in the Stella and to Keith, and I don't know if it's a trickery time, if it's a pass, and see what they do on this play.
Well, you have to figure they've gone to the air a lot already in this drive. You figure 3rd and 18, they're going to have to again. And if nothing else, maybe try to draw that pass interference penalty. Even though it's only 15 yards, it would be an automatic 1st down. The Johnsons on each side, and a flag comes in from the backfield. And we'll have to see what this call is going to be. We're going to delay a game on Benson.
Todd, that's just a bad penalty there. Delay penalty is one of the worst, and that sets them back 5 yards now, Todd. 3rd down and 23. Coach Tapp not happy on that situation.
You don't have the play clock at high school, but you do have a lot of amount of time to get the play off, and it seemed like it really wasn't that long getting the play back out there, but the delay of game penalty comes in. It'll bring up 3rd down and 23 at their own 33-yard line. They have to get to the Millard North 44. Gormley looks to the air and just gets that one off before he is met in the backfield by Bob Cross.
Bob Cross, a 6'1", 220-pound senior. He was a man on a mission. Gormley had no chance. He's got touched on a blocking scheme by Benson, and this one just a dying duck in the midfield. Huge stance for Millard North defense, and now Benson forced to punt.
Well, someone missed a block on that play, and now the offensive line of Benson is hearing about it. They'll try to adjust on the next offensive possession if they get one. Jason Apin back to receive this kick from Benson. He takes it at the 36. Across the 40, out to the 45, back to midfield. And that's going to be great field position for Millard North. 6:26 remaining here in regulation as we're all knotted up at 14.
What Apin has had problems handling the ball in the punt returns. This time it's still a little shaky, but he comes up with it, and he gets some good field position for his Mustangs team at midfield out to 50, and Apin, you can see a little cramping. And I'm surprised how we haven't seen more of this with his heat out here today at Lyallville Stadium.
Pretty warm and humid night, at least when we started out. Temperatures in the upper 70s, maybe around 80. Not much wind here tonight. Usually you'll get a lot of wind in these high school stadiums. It's been a little more open here at Lyallville than some of the other ones we'll see around the Metro Conference, but no wind at all, and that's kept temperatures pretty mild here this evening. 6:26 remaining here in the 4th quarter. Ball at midfield, great opportunity for the Mustangs. They've scored on their last 2 possessions. Pearson hands off once again, and nothing doing there as he gets it off to his fullback. Nate Willis comes in for the stop.
Nate Willis, a great stop, and he fights his way and makes a big stop.
Let's go
score
check
tie
in.
14-14. The Millard North Vikings Mustangs have gotten right back into this crowd, and this crowd is really pumped tonight.
Well, they have something to cheer about, at least here in the second half. They'll lose a couple of them. 2nd down and 11 as they lose a yard on that last play. .553 remaining. Right side, not much room there. Pick up a 3, maybe 4 yards. He'll bring up 3rd down and 6, another big 3rd down play. 5:21, 3rd down and 6. Benson needs to try to get the stop. Pearson drops back, and he has pressure. He'll throw downfield. He has a man down there. It's knocked away by Randy Stella, who had a beat on that ball, but we'll have to make sure that this play stands, and it looks like no flags on the play.
Randy Stella showing his 4.67 electronic speed, and great job by Pearson to fight away. And his intended receiver he's trying to find is Andy Nord, the tight end. Nord was wide open early on the flats. No one was there. Stella sees that he uses his speed. He closes the gap, gets there in time, and give credit to Benson. They got pressure on Pearson, so he had a chance to set up and make the throw to the wide open Nord.
Kenton Keith back deep for Benson to receive this kick. Randy Stella, if this kick is short, but it'll go over Stella's head. Bounces at the 15, takes a Millard North bounce. He won't field it, and this one will get knocked in the end zone. The ball had almost stopped, and actually gets down at the 5. And it looked like that it should have been a touchback, because that ball gets knocked into the end zone. As the ball had almost already stopped.
And you take a look at this one. First of all, I think that you leave the ball alone because it's going to die off. And you look here, he doesn't have possession of it. Ricketts does. He gets knocked in the end zone. But again, in high school, rules a little different, and they'll mark this down to the 5-yard line.
And they're going to discuss this when the officiating crew is and talk about that, but possession never established. I have to believe this comes out to the 20.
And you got to believe it does. No possession at all. He deflected that ball in the end zone, and you got to believe that's got to be the 20-yard line.
And we'll go check it out, and it will be a touchback, and this will come out to the 20-yard line, and I really didn't think there's much question on this call.
No, and that's a great job by the crew to get together and make the right call. And the fact they do, they make the right call, and Benson breathing a little bigger this time, a little better.
Now back to Millard North special teams, though, because that ball almost died by itself at the 5-yard line. All they had to do was touch that one down. Instead, they knocked it in the end zone, cost them 15 yards of field position.
I think the ball was ready to stop there anyway in the 5, but Benson ball has the 20 to 80 yards to go.
So 4:57 remaining. We're all tied up. 4:57 remain in regulation. Gormley takes the snap, gives it off to Keith. Hey, there's nothing there. He's going to try to turn it around, but he cannot, as he's brought back down by Jason Apin. Huge stop behind the line of scrimmage, and that will go down as a loss of 11.
Todd, after that carry, Ken Keith only has 3 yards for the night. Apin, great speed, turns it back in on the inside, wraps him up, brings him down by the legs, and Apin, great speed, makes a stop. And for Keith, that's a play maybe. I know he's a great athlete trying to create things. That's a situation, maybe just get down, get on the ground, and take maybe the 7-yard loss instead of the 11-yard loss.
Clock continues to run, 4:21. 2nd down and 21 yards to go, though. And dangerous situation. Bad place for a turnover. We haven't seen one in a while. They dish it off to England, and he cannot pick it up in the flat, as that one will fall incomplete and bring up 3rd down and 21.
Todd, can you say he heard the footsteps? Watch England as he'll take a little peek up, and he knows there's a couple guys on the other side that can do some hitting. He looks up a little too quick. Mr. Ray Rose is ready to introduce himself to Mr. England, and England not able to make the catch, and now 3rd down and 21. I tell you, Gormley 5 and 6 in that first half is now 6 of 14. He's completed 1 of his last 8 passes.
4:12 remaining. Clock stops on the incomplete pass. 14 all from their own 9-yard line. Benson. Gormley, he's going to throw downfield. He has Keith down there and nearly comes up with it as he gets tangled up. He wants pass interference with Jason Apin. He's not going to get the call this time.
He had a great chance to make the play, and he did a good play as he comes back to the ball to try to make the catch. But Jason Apin is step for step with him, and this one, Gormley tries to air it out far as he can, and you can see Keith almost makes the catch. He can't come up with it now, Todd. Dangerous situation here, and a punt situation for Benson.
So kicking out of his own end zone, Mike Fogelman. Great chance here for Millard North, as back deep is Pat Ricketts. Deep being only the Benson 47-yard line.
Interesting, they put Ricketts in a little more sure hands than Ape in this situation.
High snap, but brought down by Fogelman, and he'll kick. Ricketts picks it up at the 45, and he has a little room. Across the 35, slides down at the 33-yard line, and What a turnaround right there as Millard North, with 3:57 remaining here in regulation, nearly has in field goal position.
Well, Ricketts has got a little better hands also on 2 punt returns this season, 53 yards. He's averaging 26.5 yards per return. He also has a touchdown per return early this season. So they get him back there to give him opportunity, and he gets the ball back to the 32 and time. Looking tough for Benson here. We're going to see what they're made of here, and they're looking to call a timeout. We'll see if they notice it, and they do.
So Benson, not much has gone right here in the second half. They're still in this game, obviously, as we are all tied up, 3:57 remaining. They'll call a timeout. They'll talk it over, get that defense rested up a little bit, talk strategy.
Yeah, the players are shuffling back and forth, and finally Coach Tapper and staff said, hey, this isn't looking right, so they try to call a timeout, and they do get it with 3:57 to go.
Next Sunday, hopefully another good one. We assume it will be Papio at Millard South. Next Sunday, 4:30, right here on O2 TV. It's a rematch of last year's Class A state championship game.
Talking about schedule, the remaining schedule for these teams, you look for Millard North. It's a roller coaster. It's a big uphill and downhill. They play at Lincoln Southeast, play Papio, and then they come back home to take on Lincoln Northeast. Those are the next 3 weeks. Those teams were combined 28-6 last year. They're 8-1 this year. Then they finish off with Bellevue East and Northwest, who were combined 1-17 last year. So definitely a roller coaster ride for Millard North for the remaining schedule.
More pressing of an issue, 3:57 remaining. 14 all, we are deadlocked. Pearson takes the snap, tries to run option, keeps himself, finds the 30 inside, the 30 down to the 28 before he's brought down by Eric England. Picks up 3 yards on first down.
Eric England, number 5, he does a nice job of getting in there, and there's a good blocking. There's a hole. Eric England finds his way out of the chaos and wraps him up in a pickup of 4 yards.
Clock running, and Rick Pitino and the Mustangs will love to use as much clock as they can and get some points out of this drive and try to win this game. 3:22 remaining. Pearson hands off, and looks like Pearson's limping a little bit in the backfield, the quarterback for the Mustangs.
Yeah, and you can see he's shaking it off a little bit, and he's taking a little beating there on the inside. 15 carries, 85 yards, and this one, Petito safely gives it off to Corbett on the right side, who picks up a yard, and he is definitely shaken up.
So we'll see how that affects him as the clock continues to run. Under 3 minutes now in this game. 3rd down and 6, another 3rd down situation.
That's the luxury Petito has, though. He's got a very talented backup quarterback in Andy Nord.
2:45 remaining. And Pearson will keep it himself. Tries to find that first down marker inside the 25, down to the 20 before he's smashed to the turf at the 18. And bad leg and all, he gets the first down for Millard North.
9-yard gain on that one, puts him at 94 yards, and this was probably his best run of the night, considering it's 3rd down and 6. He's hurting, but he's a leader, he's a game player, and you see him fighting upfield and wraps up, and he just puts his back forward and fights, and finally brought down at the end by Kitten Keith Incorporated.
See a couple of players defensively for Benson seem to be slightly injured. Checking out is Matt Shelsta, who is favoring a leg, it looks like. And he checks out defensively. 2:20 remaining now in regulation as Millard North tries to finish off this drive. They give off to the fullback once again, Corbett, near the 15-yard line, where he is met by a bunch of bunnies and brought down after a pickup of 4.
Todd, you talked about some injured players, and also that last time we saw 2 players over on the Benson side, on the defensive side, on their hands and knees, taking a breather, and they're tied out there. And when you look at these 2 teams' rosters, Millard North's got a good probably 20 more players on their sideline than Benson does, and it's starting to take a wear and tear on them with 2 minutes to go in the game.
2nd down and 7, 1:45 remaining now here in the 4th quarter as we're all tied up. Pearson, he doesn't get around it this time, and he's wrapped up by Travis Brooks, and he'll be taken down for a loss. Again, we're going to have a 3rd down situation. We're at 90 seconds remaining here in regulation.
Travis Brooks makes a big stop there, and a big time to call his name for the first time, and wraps him up, brings him down. You talked about Todd, 3rd down and 8. Interesting call here. We'll see what Coach Petito brings out of his bag of tricks. Or if he goes back to the old school, grind it out. We'll see if they'll do the option, maybe option short side, maybe long side. We'll see what he calls.
Well, they need to get down to the 9-yard line. Closer actually about 3rd down and 9 yards from this situation. Pearson puts a man into motion. Options off to the left side. Has a hole inside the 15, but he's going to be short of the first down. 1 minute exactly now to go, and you have to figure you bring in the field goal kicker. And Randy Stella is down injured, and they're going to call a timeout. We're actually going to stop the clock. Try to fix him up.
Randy Stella, he has missed the last 2 weeks with a severe ankle sprain, a high ankle sprain, and you can see they're looking at the ankle once again. And I tell you, that'd be too bad if we heard it here with less than a minute to go. It's been a high ankle sprain, very similar to what Eric Crouch suffered last year. And Eric Crouch was out for 2.5 games.
This is going to give some time to Millard North to think about this kick. Game-winning field goal opportunity forthcoming for the Mustangs if they elect to take this. It'll be a 29-yard field goal with the ball on the left hash for B.J. Gerke. 56 seconds remain. We'll come back. We'll bring you this field goal. After this timeout, you're watching high school football right here on O2 TV.
For unique things to buy, come to Bel Air Plaza. There's so much you must try. Professional retail store, service door to door. There's more to explore at Bel Air Plaza now.
Northwest corner of 120th and West Center.
Okay, time for a quiz. Where can you find the largest display of spas and pools in Nebraska? Superior Spa and Pool. Who carries Doughboy above-ground pools? Superior Spa and Pool. And a large selection of jacuzzi spas? Superior Spa and Pool. Okay, what about Conley pool tables? Superior Spa and Pool. So for extra credit, who's Nebraska's full-service pool store? Superior Spa and Pool, 132nd and L. They're the answer to your spa and pool questions. You pass.
Fourth down and 3, 56 seconds remain. We're all tied up at 14 apiece. They're trying to start the clock, and they missed it. 51 seconds, 50 seconds, and Millard North will take their time as they will try, apparently, a 29-yard field goal to break this 14-all tie and try to win the game. Millard North will let the clock run down to the delay of game and then use one of their timeouts to try to use as much clock as they can. They're talking to the referee, and the back judge throws a flag, but the timeout will be taken right before that flag came out.
Yeah, and sitting there right there next to the ref is Andy Nord, the senior, to call the timeout.
We'll go down and get a clarification as they are talking about this, but Millard North was right there with the head referee, and they will wave the flag off as you see Randy Stella recovering on the sideline. And Millard North will take a timeout, 33 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter before they will kick this game-winning field goal, or at least attempt to.
33 seconds to go, yeah, a big kick here for Mr. Gerke. And Gerke, he has been a great kicker all season long for Coach Petito. And as you look on the season, he's only attempted one field goal, and that was a 26-yarder that he did make. On far as PAT's extra points, he's a perfect 14 for 14 for the year. He's 15 of 15 and trying to kick through the post, and we'll see if he can make it 16 for 16.
Andy Nord will hold for the Mustangs. B.J. Gerke will try to win this game. 33 seconds remaining. They're trying to tell the crowd to keep it down a little bit out there. This will be a 29-yard field goal attempt off of the left hash mark. Referee resets the situation. Everything's in place. They'll start the clock, or at least they'll give the whistle to start the play clock. 29 yards. This is to break the tie. 33 seconds left. Kick is down, and it's blocked. Benson has a chance. They're on top of it. They have a chance to run it back. Keith on top of it. They'll bring it out to the 39-yard line, and a huge special teams effort coming in. It looked like Ken and Keith got his hands on it. The snap, though, looked like maybe slightly mishandled.
That snap was high. Nord brought it down. What happened when that snap is high? You take a little extra time. Kenton Keith's got great speed. He busts on the outside, and Mr. Keith not only blocks it, but he picks up the ball. And Mr. Keith, talking about a great athlete, I tell you, we keep mentioning the great athletic ability from Stella and Keith, and they rise to the occasion. And that's when you find out who are real prime-time players. Mr. Keith, a prime time play there. You can see him shaking his hand. I think that block hurt.
He'll take that, though. He doesn't mind that too much. And 25 seconds now. We'll see if Benson could try to see something the other way offensively. I don't know if they have enough time, though, to quite get anything in. We'll see what they do right here. Maybe go to the air with 25 seconds remaining.
Randy Stella, he was in that play. He goes off now, but his ankle must be all right.
In his place now is Bronson Berto. They'll hand off to Keith this time. Tries to find room on the left side. He will be denied. Again in on the stop, Nick Boyer.
And you can see Ken Keith looking a little tired there on the far side of the field. A little shaken up on the play, tackled by Nick Boyer. And Boyer, another great player for this Millard North team.
So Keith is down and not getting up. 7 seconds remaining as they stop the clock to tend to the injured Rabbit.
Nick Boyer, the outside linebacker, 6', 200-pound junior, taking the place of Judd Davies on that outside linebacker position. And some of the fans of Millard North booing that maybe stalling on purpose to stop the clock. But I tell you, there's only 7 seconds to go, I guarantee, and he's definitely shaken up. A player like Ken Keith, he doesn't go down and stay down often.
Well, if they think this is an acting job, it's a heck of a one.
As you see Randy Stella shaking off the ankle, and he was running on the track below after about 5 minutes after his injury, and he's back in there. And if Keith is hurt, he's going to have to get in there and take over the position. As you take a look at Fred Petito, trying to get things cleared up. And I think they want to get things going here, but Ken Keith is still down.
There may be some discussion on whether Benson will be charged with a timeout in this situation.
Coach Petito not liking that the coaching staff is out there helping and giving water and talking with players. He doesn't like that, so he says, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. And now both coaches and water boys and girls are being left on the field. 7 seconds ago, we're tied at 14, Todd, and this has turned out to be a great game.
Not too bad. Hopefully another one next week. Papio and Millard South next Sunday, 4:30 right here on O2 TV. And coaches will have plenty of times to talk with their teams here in a second. Unless something happens in the next 7 seconds, we're going to go on to our first overtime game of the year here on O2 TV. And that's a blow if Keith is unavailable here for the overtime as well. And Randy Stella, we aren't exactly sure of his injury situation either. And that's your two big men in the backfield.
Yeah, and we'll see what the situation of Kent Keith is, but it looks like he is in serious pain, and he has not moved yet on that sideline. They're finally going to bring him up. Randy Stella's back in there, but he's got a bad ankle sprain, and he has hurt that ankle once again, so you got to believe he is not 100%. So we'll see how this plays out for Benson.
So we've seen it all tonight. A couple of turnovers very early for Benson.
Todd, you're talking about a warrior. His jersey is ripped. Now look, I think he maybe got the wind knocked out of him, and man.
Taking the hits out there tonight, leaving it all on the field. It's Ken and Keith. 7 seconds remaining here in regulation. We may be headed to overtime. We're all tied up here at 14 apiece. And Benson will most likely just kneel this one down and take their chances in the OT. Gormley takes the snap, hands off up the middle. That's Randy Stella back in there, but time has expired. And after 4 quarters, we're still knotted up. We'll have bonus football coming back. 14 points apiece. Millard North and Benson right here on O2 TV.
She's half machine.
My designation is 7 of 9.
And half human.
She's beautiful. But a month ago, she was born. You don't really know who she is. There's a woman in there, if you take the time to look.
You two make a good team. I want to keep you together on this project.
But on the next Voyager...
You've got a crush on her, don't you?
Are you in love with me, Ensign?
She's all woman.
Take off your clothes.
Star Trek Voyager. Back to back with the Sentinel. All new UPN Wednesday.
I suggest you beam me aboard. to be on TV?
That's exactly why I'm excited.
Voila.
Understand, we're not the baby network.
We are the network, baby.
Right here on O2, baby.
We're the network, baby.
Welcome back to Lyle Buell Stadium. Going into overtime as we're all tied up at 14. 14 points for Benson in the first half, 14 points for Millard North in the second half, and something's got to give here in the overtime.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride for both teams. You know, Todd, a very interesting question that I bring is you take a look at the coin flip, and it looks like Benson has won the coin flip. And situation here, you can take the ball first, and they start on the 10-yard line. You got 4 plays to punch it in for a touchdown or for a field goal. This situation, you win the coin toss. You want to go second, so you see what the other team does. It looks like Benson won that, and it looks like they're kind of going and playing a little ring around the rosy here.
So Benson wins. They will go second. They will defend the south goal.
You know, Todd, an interesting question that I bring up to you, and we talked about it during the break, is on that last play with 6 seconds to go, obviously Benson is just going to down the ball and get into overtime period. Randy Stella is your only healthy primetime running back now that Kenton Keith is hurt, and Stella is probably only 50% himself. So what they do now is all they do is simply hand the ball off to Stella, which is not a good play. He gets hurt, and next thing you know, Stella, as we went off the break, was injured, limping off. So interesting call.
He's back in the huddle right now. He looks like he's ready to perform, and it'll be very, very interesting here. And there's a UNO hockey sweatshirt. What do you know? You don't see too many of those, and we'll probably see more. So Benson will defend first, and it's much like the college game, except for it's starting at the 25-yard line. They start at the 10 until the downs are expired or a turnover or a score. Just a reminder, UNO hockey home opener live right here on O2 TV. We're taking on Mankato State. That will be October 17th. Get your calendar out right this second. Take your pen, write it down. 7 o'clock start time. That's the start of the whole thing. Yeah, the whole program right there, and you want to tune it on.
And I know you and I are looking forward to being there at that game, and it should be an exciting time to start things off with UNO hockey right here on O2 TV.
Lancers shortly thereafter. Keep it tuned right here on O2 TV, and I'll tell you what, we got lots of hockey, lots of football, lots of stuff coming your way in the next few weeks, so keep it tuned right here. We're on top of it. Millard North will have the first opportunity. They will start down to south goal from the 10-yard line, and it'll be interesting to see. Millard North, you have to figure, has some of the momentum. They've dominated offensively here in the second half, and we'll see if they can continue that here in the overtime. It's just 10 yards, right?
That's it.
So start at the 10-yard line in that wing-bone offense. B.J. Gerke lines up wide out. I'll get it straight. Lines up wide out. It doesn't matter. Down after a yard is Pearson.
Pearson goes on to the short side of the field, and he had someone out there, but he had no intention of pitching that ball at all. And coming in to make the huge stop is the ailing and hobbing Randy Stella, but he comes in with a big stop.
James Whelan lining up now in the wideout position, and now we're seeing I formation for the first time tonight for Millard North. They hand off to the fullback Corbett, reaches for that goal line, but he'll be just short. Marked down at the 1-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and goal here in overtime.
What a great call by Coach Petito. This team for Benson has been practicing all week with that wing bone, and what do you know? They bring out I formation, and you're on the defensive side. You're kind of looking at each other saying, now what is this? Even though you see it from every other team. And you see Millard North do it, and you're thinking, man, what do I do? And it changes the pace, and just that one little change in the formation really throws the other team off.
3rd down and goal, 1 long yard to go here for Millard North. Pearson takes it, gives it to Corbett. He's stacked up. Touchdown, Millard North. So Millard North scores first in the first possession of this first overtime. It's not sudden death like the NFL, obviously. Starting at the 10-yard line. Benson will get their shot in just a moment, but they get a chance at the extra point as well forthcoming.
Well, you look down the yellow goal line stripe, and you see Corbett gets in easily, and as you noted, North takes the lead. Now these extra points are huge here in overtime.
B.J. Gerke will try to put the icing on the cake. Andy North there to hold. Puts the snap down, and a dive, and the point is blocked. Coming in was Kenan Keith, and he blocked that field goal at the end of the fourth quarter, and he comes in with a big play right here. This is huge.
Coming in the game, Gerke, after the first 2 touchdowns, 16 of 16 on extra points, 1 of 1 on field goals from 26-yard line. But all it takes is one man named Kenan Keith. He blocks a field goal, now blocks an extra point. Now that changes things dramatically. Benson scores, puts up the extra point. They come out of Loudville Stadium a winner.
You have that option when you're the second team, whether you want to kick the extra point after a touchdown to tie it up and send it to a second overtime, or go for the 2 and try to end it right there. Now the Bunnies won't have to worry about it. They just have to worry about trying to get into the end zone here with their allotted set of downs. They'll get it at the 10-yard line, trailing by 6.
As you know, Kenan Keith, Randy Stella, both back in the game. These guys are gamers. They'll fight through whatever injury it takes to get back in the game. They're both back in there to set up the most potent backfield in the Metro.
Benson has not scored since the second quarter. They'll hand off to the fullback once again. That's Keith. He gets 5 yards as he gets down to the 5. And now the benefit actually goes to Benson, obviously, because they know what they have to get. They'll have 4 chances to go for that touchdown.
Yeah, it's the quick handoff, and Keith uses speed to charge upfield. Picks up 4, 5 yards on the play, second down and 6. Give credit to that offensive line, Todd. They've got a big hole in there, and this is when you put the gut check. You find out who's who and who's primetime players.
Marcus Johnson lines up, or Michael Johnson lines up wide right. They hand off again to Keith inside the 5. He's stacked up. We'll see where the forward progress is. They'll be right at the 5 before Randy Stella was stopped.
Randy Stella has been completely stopped tonight. 10 carries, only 9 yards. That's a .9 yards per carry, and he has been completely shut down. Randy Stella only has 54 yards on 9 carries. So those two combined 63 yards. And give credit to that Millard North defense. Millard North came to this game as one of the top defenses in Class A, third, only allowing 128 yards a game. Tonight they've given up 217.
Third down and goal here in overtime.
Obviously, Todd, 4 down territory.
You have no choice. 2-back set, Keith and Randy Stella. Wide out on each side. Gormley under center, takes a snap, play action. There is a flag, touchdown Benson, but we have a flag, and the referee ends up on the ground as well, and we'll see whether this is a false start on Benson or a defensive offside on Millard North.
And that's like there was motion on this Benson team a little early. We'll see what they call it, and in fact it was.
Illegal motion on the Bunnies, and they'll back them up 5 and negate the game-tying touchdown.
And you saw the man jump early, number 87, and this one goes on the inside. And 87 makes a catch. Maybe that's why he's open. It left me a little early.
It's a good play call. We'll see if they want to try that again from 10 yards out.
Gormley's been very quiet in the second half. He is 6 of 15 as Millard North will take a timeout to talk things over. But 6 of 15, he was in the first half. He was 5 of 6. So in the second half, he is 1 of 9.
Millard North leading here in OT number 1, 20-14. Took them only a couple of plays. They got into the end zone, but the extra point was blocked by the Bunnies. You see the kicker, and it could come down to Steve Harding's leg. He won't get a chance at a field goal, obviously, but that touchdown goes in. Not really a pressure because they'll be tied up already, but it could be the game-winning extra point.
Well, neither team has been in overtime this season, so it's a first-time experience for both teams this season. And you don't see really a lot of overtimes, in high school football. And it's fun to see this one. Last year, of course, we had that great game between North and Central. Opened the slate last year in our high school football. And that was an overtime game that was our best game so far. And this one is right up there with it. And another overtime game, Benson and Millard North.
Millard North actually called this timeout to talk things over defensively. It's back at the 10-yard line. That's where they start this overtime session at. Benson will have 2 chances to get that 10 yards and see if they can tie this game up. 2 wideouts on the right side, 2-back set, tight end in for the Bunnies. Gormley takes a snap, play action, fakes it. He's looking to throw, and it's the halfback that throws it. Touchdown, Benson! Randy Stella from the 25-yard line threw a wobbly duck into the end zone, and coming up with it was Marcus Johnson in the end zone. Touchdown, Benson. They'll take a timeout and get ready for this game-winning extra point.
Coach Tapp, when I talked to him this week, he says, hey, we're going to have to pull some trickery out to win this game. And he pulled out a trickery. It wasn't a beautiful pass, and I'm surprised none of the hunters around here took a shot at that thing. But, hey, the final result is all that matters. And Stella makes a complete, and Marcus Johnson and now Harding puts the extra point, or the PAT, and that's the game.
Steve Harding comes down to his leg. If Harding misses this extra point, we will go to a second overtime and repeat this whole process one more time.
Harding does have a good leg. He did make a 40-yard field goal early this year, so he has a good leg. But boy, talking about pressure in this situation for Mr. Harding, the 5'11" senior.
Maybe one of the biggest extra points of Steve Harding's career for the senior place kicker. In the hold is Curtis Gormley, the quarterback for the Bunnies. Gormley gets ready for this. This would win the game. Here's the snap. The placement's down. Kick is up, and Benson wins. The kick is good. An upset of the number 2 team in the state. Millard North goes down in overtime, 21-20. And what an inspired performance by that whole Benson team, and it came down to special teams. You have to give credit to Ken and Keith, who blocked both a field goal at the end of the fourth quarter and then blocked the extra point in the overtime.
Todd, special teams is 1/3 of the game, and I tell you, what a great job as they put this one up, and that has been the difference of the game. And I tell you, Lonnie Tapp, he is one happy coach. What a great game for Coach Tapp in his 12th year at Benson. Pulls off a huge victory. This turns their season around. Instead of being 1-3, Todd, they stand at 2-2.
Lonnie Tapp wants to celebrate with his team, but we got Keith and McCann, so we get him first. Let's go check in down the sideline.
Great win tonight, Coach. Your kids came back, played a tremendous second half. You know, it was a little shaky there for a while, but they showed their grit. Tell us a little bit about the game.
Well, I don't know what to say. Kids got tired at the end, and they were just hammering us. And then the kids picked it up. We got into overtime, and we scored, and they could have got down a little bit. We put in a halfback pass. Randy threw it. Somebody caught it. I don't even know who got it. Somebody caught it. We're in business.
Who made the call?
Coach Woodworth and Coach Knight made the call.
Great game, Coach. Enjoy this one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keithan, and an excited Benson coaching staff and team out there tonight.
He doesn't even know who made the call, who made the catch. He just knows. He looks up at the scoreboard and says, guest 21, home 20.
Well, Benson will take it, and you have to figure they're going to get some respect now. They played close with Papillion La Vista. They've defeated the number 2 team in the state, Millard North, and final in overtime. The Benson Bunnies victorious here at Lyle Beal Stadium, 21-20 next Sunday, 4:30. Hopefully another one just as good as this, a rematch of the 1996 state Class A championship game, Papio at Millard South. Let's check out the players of the game for Benson. It has to be Kenton Keith.
Oh, Kenton Keith, and as far as on the ground, he didn't have a lot of yards. He was held contained, but throw that out, the special teams. 2 huge blocks, and Kenton Keith, he's the reason why they won, and what a great game he had over on the other side for Benson.
And our player of the game for Millard North.
For Millard North, again, what a tough game for them. And Joe Corbett, over 115 yards, he pounded out, trying to fill the hole for Davies, and what a great job he did there.
So 21-20, final score in overtime as Benson defeats number 2 Millard North. Has been a good one. Join us back here next Sunday again, 4:30. For Preston Munch, for our director Brandon Henry, for our producer Dave Crand, and Todd Walkenhorst from Lyle Beal Stadium. Final score once again, Benson 20, Millard North, or make it Benson 21, Millard North 20 in overtime. Good night, everybody.
Extra. I'm Ross Turnstrom. The third-ranked Huskers were off on Saturday, and that put the UNO football team in the spotlight. The Mavs proved that Nebraska is not the only college football team in the state with a powerful offense. UNO put up some big-time stats in their 38-14 homecoming win over South Dakota. The UNO offense is rolling up some impressive numbers this season. The Mavericks ran and passed for 585 yards in total offense against South Dakota on Saturday. UNO currently ranks among the nation's leaders in rushing offense and total offense. Head coach Pat Burns calls this the best offense he's ever had at the school.
Well, you know, obviously it's the best offensive we've had since we've been. Just don't, you know, I guess I will reserve my opinion until the end of the year to determine if we can continue this pace. But, you know, we're really running a game plan well. I mean, we see some things that we know we can take, and our guys are doing a good job of getting us into those plays. And right now we're doing a very efficient job of offense.
The key to the Maverick offense is number 12. Ed Thompson is a quarterback who can make the big play and knows how to win.
You know, we can run the ball inside, we can run it outside. We got the pass short, and we go long, you know, throw it up to some of them guys. You know, just, you know, a matter of catching them off guard and doing the right things at the right time.
Thompson can hand off to a stable of running backs that includes Melvin McFall and Mickey Corey up the middle. He can also pitch to the outside to Jeff Herdzina or Adam Wright. Thompson's option play allows the Mavs to come up with the big run.
Ed's probably one of the best quarterbacks at running the option in this nation, and you know, anytime he touches the ball, he's a playmaker, and he's dangerous.
Thompson is also becoming dangerous through the air. He enjoyed his best passing day of the season on Saturday. Thompson completed 12 of 15 passes for 220 yards. He also threw for 3 touchdowns. Thompson has tried to open up the passing game.
Ed's always been a good thrower, but it's just the threat that we have some receivers out there now who can go ahead and get the ball, and they have to honor it. And then if Ed gets out in the corner, he can go and run, and it's just he's a great scrambler, and he gives us time to get open.
You know, if he's scrambling, you have to look at him. Make sure you look at him, because sometimes he might just run it, or sometimes he might just do like he did to me and guide you to the open area. You always have to make sure, you know, you look back and see what he's doing, because you never know what he's going to do. Great quarterback, he can do it all.
There is no telling how good this Maverick offense is right now, but they will face their toughest test next Saturday when they meet undefeated North Dakota in Grand Forks.
You know, going back up there, they're going to be fired up, and, you know, I think this win will help, and we just got to be ready to play next Saturday.
If the Mavs defeat North Dakota this Saturday, you can bet they'll move up from their number 10 ranking in the polls. In the Associated Press poll today, no change in the top 5. It's still Florida, Penn State, Nebraska, Florida State, and North Carolina. Iowa's ranked 8th and 11th in the polls. Well, a new chapter in Omaha sports begins this week. The UNO hockey team opens practice in its first season at the school. Tonight, the fans and media got a preview of Maverick hockey. The wait is finally over. UNO unveiled its first hockey team on the ice Sunday night at the renovated Civic Auditorium. 17 months after selling out 8,200 tickets, the hockey season has arrived in Omaha. For head coach Mike Kemp, it's a long-time dream that has come true.
This is one of the big thrills of my life, to be honest. You know, going out here, it's the first time that I've been on the ice, and to me, it's just absolutely, you know, seeing a culmination of 15 months of work kind of put together and kind of come all together at once. It's a real thrill.
Former UNO athletic director Don Leahy watched the players skate around the ice with a sense of accomplishment. Leahy spearheaded the drive to bring the sport to the university. Leahy calls it a milestone in Omaha sports.
I think the way the public has embraced this project from the day one, it's got to be the best ever in Omaha. You go back to so many things that happened, even the Kansas City Omaha Kings with the NBA, even the College World Series took a long time to get started. So it was an overnight success, and we're so pleased about it.
UNO's inaugural roster is made up of 15 freshmen, 9 sophomores, and 6 juniors. The question still remains on just how this team will compete in its first season.
I'd be lying if I say in I'd say you're not going to be nervous. I think every guy's going to be nervous, but you got to know how to channel that energy towards positive results.
To tell you the truth, we're not too sure exactly how it's going to go. I think, quite honestly, we could be in for some long nights, but at the same time, I think we could surprise some people too.
I think this next 3 weeks is going to go by so fast because we have so much to do, and I'm going to keep going. Where are the breaks? Where are the breaks? I need one more day to get this done. You know, this fall has gone fast, and I'm sure that 17th of October is going to be upon us before we even know it.
And yes, the Mavs will open the season on Friday, October 17th, when they host Manitoba at the Civic Auditorium, and what a game that'll be. There is no place like home for the Nebraska soccer team. The Huskers extended their win streak at home to 21 games with a 5-0 win over Texas Tech and Lincoln today. Meanwhile, in Omaha, the Creighton soccer team faced Western Kentucky. It was a good day for the goalkeeper, John Epperson, as he stops the ball here in the net. Johnny Torres had 2 assists in the match. Creighton won the game 3-0. The 16th-ranked Blue Jays raised their record to 6-3-1. It's time now to look at our high school football ratings. You don't have to wait for the Monday newspaper. Here is the top 10 right now. At number 10 is Lincoln Pius X. The Thunderbolts cracked the top 10 for the first time this season. Pius is undefeated and rolled past Northwest 47-7. The number 9 team is Elkhorn. The Antlers crushed Nebraska City 48-6. At number 8 is Columbus. The Discoverers downed Kearney 26-17 to remain undefeated. Lincoln Northeast is number 7. The Rockets lost to Creighton Prep on Saturday night 32-15. Northeast dropped to 2-2 on the season. At number 6 is Millard North. The Mustangs lost their first game of the season on Thursday when Benson pulled off a 21-20 upset. Joe Corbett scored 3 touchdowns for the Mustangs. The Bunnies moved up to number 5 with the win. Benson is a hot team right now. Randy Stella tossed the game winner in overtime to beat the Mustangs. At number 4 is Millard South. The Indians downed Grand Island 41-7. At number 3 is Lincoln Southeast. The Knights shut out Norfolk 41-0. The number 2 team is Creighton Prep. The Junior Jays rolled to a big win over Northeast. Jeff Wellwood rushed for a season-high 191 yards. He still leads the state in rushing with 689 yards after just 4 games. Prep is now 3-1. And the number 1 team is still Papillion La Vista. The Monarchs' Tyler Davies rushed for 4 touchdowns and returned a punt for a TD as Papio downed Bellevue East 56-7. That's a look at this week's Channel 6 Heartland Top 10. Now, one reason Creighton Prep is off to a strong start this season just may be the coaching. The Junior Jays have a volunteer coach with a wealth of experience. Merlin Klaus has more in this week's Prep Close-Up.
Sandy Buddha has been part of the local football scene for decades. He played at Creighton Prep High School and the University of Kansas, was a fixture on the sidelines as head coach of UNO during the 70s and 80s, and after several years in private business has come full circle, coaching at his old high school, Creighton Prep.
There's an old saying, I'm a coach, I need a sideline. I miss game day, and I've got some time with my job to help out as a volunteer in the fall time of the season to help with the Creighton Prep freshman A team last year, and we were undefeated, and Coach Jaworski asked me if I'd be willing to help with the varsity this year, so I said sure, and I'm really enjoying it.
The return to coaching has truly been a cross-generational experience for Buddha. His son Adam now plays for Creighton Prep. Junior J quarterback Mike Mancuso is the son of former Mav quarterback Mike Mancuso, who played for Buddha at UNO.
18 years later, here I am coaching his son now after coaching his dad, and his dad was quite a football player, and so's his son.
Though Sandy has been involved at many different levels of football, the elements of coaching remain the same.
Coaching the high school kids isn't any different than the college guys. They really want to learn. They're a good bunch of young men, still coaching, teaching fundamentals, and then going and watching them play on Friday night, and I've really enjoyed it. And I really don't notice any difference whether there's 75,000 people in the stands or 500. It's still young people learning to adapt to a team situation and having fun watching them grow and develop, and when they win, watching them have fun winning.
Understand, if he's on your
You get the impression Sandy loves coaching. Merlin Klaus, Channel 6 Sports.
Pin him down.
Nice story. Good to see Sandy back on the sidelines. And Buddha still owns the best winning percentage of any football coach at UNO. He won 63% of his games in 12 seasons at the school. Next on Sunday Sports Extra, we go one-on-one with Nebraska's Joel Makovica.
You're watching Sunday Sports Extra with Ross Jernstrom.
I had a really great time.
So did I.
Always there when you need us. Nebraska Public Power District, Nebraska's energy leader.
You just earned yourself 30 days in the box.
Man, I wouldn't want to be in there.
New Radiance interior wall finish. Makes rooms feel cooler in summer, warmer in winter.
Comfortable in there, tough guy?
It also saves on energy bills. Radiance looks good, feels better.
Now, here's the Menards Fast Facts.
Look to Menards for selection and savings. Check out the selection of Mastercraft Storm and Screen Doors by Larson. The MagnaCore is magnetically weather stripped to seal out the elements, now $167. Work fast with fastening installation, crafts, and more with PowerFast staplers. This staple gun is $796. A Remington Power Hammer is $1584. Find all your home improvement needs at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
The last days of Chevy's Big Value, Big Savings event are counting down. This is it, the final weekend to take advantage of the biggest discounts of the year on Heartland's sportiest SUV, Chevy Blazer, with $1,500 cash back or low 2.9% APR financing. Chevy Blazer, featuring the exclusive driver control system. Don't miss your chance for a closeout deal with 2.9 financing on any 97 Chevy Blazer. See your local Chevy dealer, but do it before September 30th.
No Frills salutes Nebraska and Iowa companies that grow and process food for our tables, like our great USDA choice meats, and food for breakfast, meals of all kinds, desserts and snacks for the family, and food for all your cooking and baking. No Frills is a hometown company, so we're having special low prices during our big Nebraska-Iowa food fair going on now. We even have food for the special family members, too.
At No Frills Supermarkets.
Welcome back to Sunday Sports Extra. Nebraska football is well known for its strong tradition at IBAC. But this season, the Huskers have a fullback who has moved into the spotlight with his tough, straight-ahead running. Joel Makovica brings a style all his own to the Nebraska offense. Jeff Makovica has been one of the most pleasant surprises of the football season. The junior fullback has become a threat up the middle in the Husker offense. Last week, Makovica had the best game of his career when he rushed for 129 yards on just 12 carries against Washington. Makovica became one of the few fullbacks ever at Nebraska to run over the century mark.
We have a lot of confidence in our offensive line, and I knew we were going to get the ball quite a bit, so I knew I was going to be a big factor in the game, and I just wanted to do my part and break a lot of tackles and things like that. So, and I came in there thinking that we were going to have a good game rushing right at them, and we came out, and that's what we did, and we stuck to our game plan, and it worked out for us.
The longest run of the season for Makovica came at a critical time in the Washington game. The Huskers were on the 3-yard line in the fourth quarter when Makovica broke free for 43 yards.
Overall, it was probably a pretty big run, and overall that was a big drive. I mean, the game was still in doubt, and we were backed up and 5 yards from our own end zone, and we needed to put together a drive offensively to take the ball down the field and get another score. So I think that showed a lot of heart and a lot of character by our whole offense, and it's just something where the coaches had confidence in me to give me the ball down there deep, and the line did a great job trap blocking, and it broke up the middle, and I just tried to take it as far as I could.
The trap play has been Nebraska's bread and butter play for years. Corey Schlesinger helped Tom Osborne win his first national championship with 2 touchdowns in the 1995 Orange Bowl. It helps keep opposing defenses honest and not key on the outside options. Makovica says the play works because of Nebraska's talent in the backfield.
I think there's so many weapons we have in our offense that they have to respect a lot of our offensive plays, and especially the wide plays. Like our option game is really a threat, and our outsides and pitches and things like that. So I think they got to respect so much of that the way Washington was playing us is they were trying to take away that. So we had a lot of the ISOs and the traps.
Makovica had watched Nebraska master that play for years. He grew up in the state and played 8-man football at East Butler. When he walked on for the Huskers in 1994, he got some important advice from his older brother, Jeff, who was the starting fullback on the national championship team in 1995.
The biggest help was that first spring ball where he just told me what to expect, and every chance he got, he told me what to expect on each play, because he's been through it before. And things like not get down, because when I started, I was 7/8 on the depth chart in that first spring ball, and he just said, don't get down, and it'll come. And after the first few scrimmages, I started moving up, and eventually got to number 3. So I think that was one of the biggest things, because I'd call him, and he'd say, just don't get down, and you're a great player, and things will happen for you in the future.
The future looks bright for Makovica. He is averaging over 8.5 yards a carry after just 3 games. The Husker fullback believes this Nebraska team could bring home another national title.
There's 150 guys on this team that think we can get the job done, and that's the biggest factor right now. Is we have a lot of senior leadership and a lot of confidence just building, and I think we're going to have a great offense eventually. There's a lot to improve, but we could have a really outstanding offense, and our defense, you've seen flashes of it against Washington. They're really athletic, and they're just going to come around and be dominating.
After 3 games, Joel is on pace to break the school rushing record for a season by a fullback, which was set by Tom Rathman with 881 yards. Next on Sunday Sports Extra, the best shots of the week.
On Tuesday, the Metro Girls Golf Championship will be decided in Omaha. There's a key matchup in high school football on Thursday. Millard North travels to Lincoln for a game against Southeast, both teams ranked in the top 10. There's plenty of volleyball this weekend. UNO hosts North Dakota and North Dakota State. Nebraska faces Iowa State and Minnesota. 2 games to watch in high school football on Friday. Creighton Prep plays at Central, and Papillion La Vista faces Millard South. 1 soccer game on Friday night. Missouri plays Nebraska at 7 o'clock. In college football on Saturday, the UNO Mavericks travel to Grand Forks for a game against North Dakota, and Nebraska opens the conference season against Kansas State. The kickoff's been changed to 6 o'clock in Lincoln. And on Sunday, the Nebraska soccer team faces Kansas. The match starts at 1 o'clock. That's a look at the Sports Week calendar. Now let's send it back out to Ross.
It got a little hot in the zone last week. Hot batters, hot tempers, hot temperatures. So it was time to cool off with a little help from the Mets bullpen. The final week of the regular season showed why some players are ready for the playoffs.
First double play. What an effort by Jeff Kent.
The junior getting back quickly. Gonna want to track over his shoulder. He makes the catch. Up the middle, what a play made by Erga. And they throw to first for a double play. Carlos by Erga.
The best shots of the week came from the golf course in the Ryder Cup in Spain. The Americans made some big shots. Tom Lehman chips it in. Justin Leonard holds it out from the fairway.
Sort of a blind third shot. Look at this. Yes, sir.
And Freddie Couple shows the right way to spin the ball back to the hole.
Watch this. Yes.
But hats off to the Europeans, especially Jose Maria Olazabal with the shot of the week.
Oh, he almost beat it in the, he did beat it in the hole.
Some might call that luck, but nobody's luckier than Colorado coach Rick Neuheisel. Wyoming led 19-17 when the Cowboys presented the Buffs with a gift in the final minutes. Ron Murkison scooped up a fumble and returned it downfield to set up the winning field goal for the Buffs. Colorado dodges a bullet and edges Wyoming 20-19. The best run in college football was by Iowa's Tavian Banks. This is why the Hawkeye running back leads the nation in rushing and is among the favorites to capture the Heisman Trophy. Banks is for real. And the best exit from a game goes to UCLA Skip Hicks, who scores a touchdown and heads out of the stadium. Time for us to exit too until we see you here next week in the Highlight Zone. And every Sunday night, we show you the plays of the week in the Highlight Zone. Thanks for joining us tonight here on Sunday Sports Extra. But before we go, a look at the best plays from the NFL and today's scores when we come back. State will have reaction from the Husker I-back. The top rusher in the state is on the state's best team. We'll have a close-up. A UNO coach teaches the game after his playing days as a Husker. The story of Marvin Sanders. A former Husker returns home as part of the U.S. national volleyball team. We go one-on-one with Allison Weston. And the plays of the week in the Highlight Zone. Hold on to your hats and take a seat for the next 30 minutes.
Live from Channel 6, it's Sunday Sports Extra.
Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Sports Extra. I'm Ross Jernstrom. It was one of the most beautiful evenings to watch a college football game. Two undefeated teams, Nebraska and Kansas State, met at Memorial Stadium. But the result was the same for the past 3 decades. Nebraska rolled past K-State 56-26. The spotlight shined brightly on a Husker I-back. On a perfect autumn evening when the sun set over Memorial Stadium, coaches cast long shadows over the turf, and a billionaire watched the showdown between the Big 12's top 2 rated teams. There was one player who stole the spotlight, Amon Green. The Nebraska I-back cut loose on Saturday night with one of the most spectacular games of his career. Green rushed for 192 yards and scored a career-high 4 touchdowns.
I gave it a great effort out there. You know, I wasn't just out there by myself. I was out there with 10 other guys landing on the line, you know, my O-line and my wide receivers out there throwing blocks down the field to get me in the end zone. So I say overall, we all gave a great effort.
Green's superb effort comes after a season where he was nagged by injuries. He was bothered by a turf toe injury and a stress fracture in his left foot during his sophomore year. But last night, Green looked like he did as a freshman when he rushed for over 1,000 yards and averaged almost 8 yards a carry.
Right now, I'm feeling great. You know, if I finally get to run 110% behind my big line, and with guys like Kenny and Lance and Jeff throwing blocks down the field, it's going to be, it's going to be a great season if we just keep it rolling for the rest of the year.
Green provided the biggest fireworks of the night in the third quarter when he broke 2 long runs for touchdowns.
And once we get rolling, that we're hard to stop, because once our offensive line, because they wanted to put it in the end zone just as much as I want to get in there, and they yelling at me, come on, let's go, you know, they yelling at me, getting me pumped up. I really don't say much. I'm a quiet guy in there. If you ask them, they be yelling at me, you know, we're going to put it in right now, man. They tell me that.
He was fantastic. He made, you know, a couple of those long runs. We missed a few blocks, and he just either outran or juked the guy, and, you know, he played fantastic tonight.
You know, we know Amon's a great back, and he'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. I wished he would have had 7 more yards to make it 200 yards. It would have been a great day, even a better day if he could have done that. But I'll tell you what, 193 yards and 4 touchdowns, player of the game, hands down.
After Green's spectacular game against Kansas State, he leads the Big 12 Conference in rushing and ranks 8th in the nation with 132 yards a game. Does this mean Green could be a candidate for the Heisman?
No, that ain't no big thing in my mind. Only thing I'm worried about is Monday's practice, Tuesday's practice, Wednesday's practice, Thursday's practice, and preparation Friday. Then next week, 6 o'clock against Baylor down there.
That was Green's second best game at Nebraska. Last year, he rushed for 214 yards against Iowa State. Green now ranks 7th on the all-time rushing list at Nebraska. In the latest Associated Press poll, the media still has Florida ranked #1 with 35 first-place votes. Penn State is second with 26. Nebraska receives 6 first-place votes. Then comes Florida State and North Carolina. Iowa dropped down to 17. Several former Huskers go on to coach after their playing days. At UNO, there is a coach on the staff with Nebraska roots. Merlin Klaus has the story.
UNO assistant coach Marvin Sanders loves to be in the middle of the action. But on game day, his perch is high above Caniglia Field. In his first year as defensive coordinator, he's learning to see the big picture.
Well, I think one big difference is understanding the whole concept of the defense. You know, being a position coach, you kind of just worry about your position and what those guys are doing. But as a coordinator, you got to make sure the whole defense, defensive line, linebackers, all in sync, and that's your responsibility.
Sanders has worked on coaching staffs at Nebraska Wesleyan and Minnesota Morris. Though he proudly wears UNO red, he's also very familiar with the Big Red of Nebraska. Sanders wore number 26 during his 3 years as a defensive back for the Huskers in the late 80s. Head coach Pat Burns can see the Lincoln influence.
I think it's probably a matter of attitude, you know, and when you bring people in that been in winning programs, they know what it takes. They know how to adapt to certain situations. They know the extra work that you have to put in to be a good player and be a good coach. And I think that's probably the thing that sometimes some people coming from other areas don't realize just how hard they work down at Lincoln, their coaches and their players. And if we can keep bringing that into our program, then obviously I think we can maintain our success.
Sanders' experience at Nebraska influenced him in other ways as well.
I think it's their overall, the way they care about the kids both on and off the field. I think that was a program you came through where you knew at any moment those coaches cared about you as a person and not just as a football player. And I think that's something I try to take with me to let these kids understand that they're more to me than just a football player. I recruited them as a person. I respect them as a person, not just a football player.
Combine that with his energetic approach, and you have a coach making an impact. Merlin Klaus, Channel 6 Sports.
Sanders and his Mavericks lost their first game of the season on Saturday. 13th ranked North Dakota downed UNO 35-24 in Grand Forks. The Mavs will try to bounce back on Saturday at Augustana. Well, it's time now to take a look at our high school football ratings. Here's a look at this week's Heartland Top 10. At number 10 is Lincoln Pius X. Pius remained undefeated with a 47-10 win over Grand Island Northwest. The number 9 team is Elkhorn. The Antlers quarterback John McMenamin broke the game open against Waverly with a pair of long touchdown passes to Jason Zastro. Elkhorn won the game 42-0. The Antlers are now 5-0. Breaking into the top 10 for the first time this season is Westside. The Warriors won their 3rd game in a row by rolling past Bellevue West 44-3. Sophomore quarterback Alex Suarez ran for 3 touchdowns and passed for another TD. At number 7 is Lincoln Northeast. The Rockets defeated Kearney 62-27. Millard South dropped down to 6. The Indians fumbled the ball away 3 times in the first half and never recovered against Papio. Millard South lost to Papillion 45-21. At number 5 is Millard North. The Mustangs lost a close game to Lincoln Southeast 24-21. Millard North quarterback Nick Pearson passed and ran for a touchdown in the loss. Moving up to number 4 is Benson. Kenton Keith and Randy Stella each ran for over 100 yards as the Bunnies downed Norfolk 30-24 in overtime. At number 3 is Lincoln Southeast. The Knights' John Bowling picked off this pass and returned it for a touchdown against Millard North. But the Knights needed a touchdown in the final quarter from Keith Wilson to win by 3 points. The number 2 team is Creighton Prep. The Junior Jays got a scare from Central on Friday, but Jeff Wellwood ran for 160 yards and scored 3 touchdowns to give Prep a 36-33 win. And the number 1 team is still Papillion La Vista. On 4th and goal from the 1, quarterback Brent Frerick scored a touchdown to help the Monarchs down Millard South to remain undefeated. That's a look at this week's Channel 6 Heartland Top 10. One of the big reasons Papillion La Vista has remained number 1 all season is their running back Tyler Davies. Last Friday, he had a career game against Millard South. Here is this week's Prep Close-Up. The stage was set for an upset. Millard South was riding a 3-game win streak, and top-ranked Papillion had 3 of their top players suspended for the game. But one of the smallest players on the field answered the challenge for the Monarchs. 5'8" running back Tyler Davies ran for 287 yards and scored 5 touchdowns to give Papio a 45-21 victory over the Indians.
Coach Sure was telling us how this is going to be one of the most important games in Monarch history, and everybody had to play the best game of their life, and I think for the most part everybody came out and gave 110%, which is real good. That's what we needed.
Davies is definitely making a name for himself in his first season at Papillion. The junior running back transferred from a high school in Missouri. Davies' performance on Friday moved him to the #1 spot as the leading rusher in the state with 908 yards in only 5 games.
I was really proud how the offensive line opened up the holes for me, you know. This is like one of the best games the offensive line had this year, and I was really proud of everybody for overcoming the adversity that we had this week, just giving 110% out there.
You know, and he's a great little running back. He's always been a good little running back, and I tell you what, some holes were open for him tonight. Sometimes some things he can just do on his own with his athleticism, and then sometimes, you know, they'll open up a hole. But he's a tough little runner. He's done it well for us all year, and we're really pleased with him.
Davies is on a mission this season to help the Monarchs win back-to-back state titles. Friday's game shows he's on the right path to repeat.
I just really hope that, you know, we use this to our advantage, you know. We still got one more game against Millard North, and we still got games down the road, and I hope that everybody gets a positive note out of this. You know, we played our hearts out tonight.
And Davies will try to go over the 1,000-yard mark this Friday when the Monarchs host Millard North in Papillion. Next, on Sunday Sports Extra, we go one-on-one with the former Papillion standout, Allison Weston of the U.S. volleyball team.
You're watching Sunday Sports Extra with Ross Jernstrom.
Did you know that the average transmission has 13 different seals that can leak? And that these trouble spots can carry a small price tag or a big one? But don't panic. AMCO centers have expert technicians with state-of-the-art diagnostic tools to give your transmission a complete going over. And fact is, half the cars serviced by AMCO centers don't need a new transmission. AMCO, AA, MCO.
In reality, only one of these will last a lifetime. Some fall apart early on. Others are worn thin by the passage of time, and many simply go flat. But for those who choose carefully, every night will always be as perfect as the first. Down comforters from Pacific Coast Feather Company, fluffy for life. Available now at Yonkers.
Now, here's the Menards Fast Facts.
Shop Menards for huge kitchen and bath savings. Choose from a great selection of Elger sinks available in a number of styles and colors. This cast iron double bowl sink is just $148. It's a great time to save on Glidden paint. Spread low luster covers beautifully on a wide range of interior surfaces. Now only $10.89 a gallon. Save on brand name quality from Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Westin Hotels and Resorts Worldwide Reservation Center has opportunities available now. If you're looking for an exciting career in the hotel and travel industry with great benefits, then call the employer of choice. Find out how you can get started in your new career today.
This is who we are. Your town is
Welcome back to Sunday Sports Extra. Last Tuesday night, the United States women's volleyball team had a match against Nebraska in the Coliseum. It was a special evening for a former Husker who now plays on the national team. The university honored one of the greatest players ever to wear the scarlet and cream. When the United States national volleyball team faced Nebraska last week, it was a homecoming for the school's most honored player, Allison Weston. In 1995, the three-time All-American helped lead the Huskers to their only national championship and was named the College Player of the Year. The University of Nebraska recognized Weston for her outstanding career and retired her number 18 jersey. Weston calls it one of the highlights of her career.
It ranks up there with winning the national championship. You know, it took a lot of hard work to be here, and I'm glad that people see that and honor that, because I obviously wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been for my coaches and my other teammates. So it was a great honor, especially for my parents to be here. You know, it's always been nice when to be only an hour away from home so they could come and watch. You know, it's always nice to be back at Lincoln, especially playing in front of this crowd. It hasn't changed much. I couldn't ask for better fans back then and now still, so it's really nice to be back.
Last year, Weston served as a graduate assistant coach at Nebraska while she finished her degree. But 2 weeks after graduation, Weston headed to Colorado Springs, where she became the 5th Husker to become a member of the prestigious U.S. national team.
It's nice being out in Colorado. We work hard. We're in the gym every day, 6 days a week. And it's a lot of hard work, but hopefully it'll be worth it because everybody's goal is to get to the 2000 Olympics.
It could be a long road for the Americans. Weston is one of 11 new players on the U.S. team. Only one member of the 96 team remains on the squad. Not only is the team young, but they lack any kind of international experience.
I think the competition that we've faced so far in just the couple tournaments that we've been has been huge. Russia and Cuba are the top 2 teams in the world right now, and we've faced them 3 times so far, and we've learned a lot each time we go out on the court. But the competition between those types of teams is huge.
Since she joined the team in May, Weston has become one of the best all-around players on the squad. 2 weeks ago, Weston led the team with 61 kills in 7 matches at an international tournament in Puerto Rico. Weston helped the young American team finish 2nd behind Cuba, the number 1 ranked team in the world.
We're just real young right now. We've got a long ways to go if we want to be at the international level that we want to be at, especially for the Olympics. But as far as the team right now, you know, we're working real hard, and especially for not having any returning players from the 96 team to come back. We're all fresh and brand new, and so it was really hard for us to know what's expected of us as a national team because we had nobody coming back to show us. You know, we don't have Bev Oden, Natalie Williams. We don't have, you know, Elaine Youngs to come out and show us how it's really played. So we have to learn a lot as we go, and obviously we're still learning.
Weston definitely has her eye on the 2000 Summer Olympic Games in Sydney, Australia. But her first priority right now is just to qualify for the games.
No, we're working real hard just to get there, and it's going to be a long road. We got a tournament coming up in January that's a stepping stone to get to a qualifier for the Olympics, and that's kind of our goal. Our short-term goal right now is to do well there, and hopefully we'll be down there in Sydney in 2000.
Allison led Team USA with 20 kills as the Americans downed Nebraska in 3 straight games, 15-13, 15-9, and 15-11. She should be a force 3 years from now in Sydney. Next on Sunday Sports Extra, we'll drive you through the highlight zone.
Where's the disco ball?
She got the biggest star sitting on her couch now.
I think I'm in love. I want more.
It's a real who's who, Demi Moore. Denzel, Slide, Julia, John. This is for real. So good. Cool song. Have a great time. Watching Rose. Make it feel so fine in the daytime. Watching Rose. Go. Go.
Weekdays at 3, only on Channel 6.
Now, here's the Jensen Tire Sports Stumper question.
This week's Sports Stumper question is, how many Nebraska volleyball players have had their jerseys retired at the school? The answer is coming up later on Sunday Sports Extra.
Why choose Jensen Tire?
Because Jensen Tire won't sell no-name brands, only major brands like Goodyear, #1 in tires.
Save up to 40%.
Let our expert certified technicians care for your car.
We do mufflers, shocks, brakes, tune-ups. We do it all.
Family-owned Jensen Tire, your complete car care center, really stacks up against the competition.
We love Jensen Tire.
With 11 convenient locations.
Buy Husker stuff, win prizes. Hi, I'm Dave Weber, inviting you to play the Big Red Ticket Sweepstakes. You can win a trip for 4 to the Huskers Bowl game, a pair of 98 season tickets, or one of 100 Husker football video games. Plus, before every Husker game day, we'll be giving away the last 12 championship footballs, Friday at 10 on Channel 6. It's your chance to win Big Red prizes and support Nebraska athletics just for buying Husker stuff. Look for displays at participating retailers and enter the Big Red Ticket Sweepstakes.
Now, Dave Weber looks ahead to the Heartland Sports Week.
Hi again, everyone. Here's a look at some of the stories we'll be covering this week here on Channel 6. The Nebraska volleyball team will face Colorado at the Devaney Center on Wednesday night. The match begins at 7:30. The Metro High School boys tennis tournament will be played on Wednesday and Thursday, all matches at Dewey Park. The Metro Cross Country Championships will be decided on Thursday. The meet will take place at Chalco Park. On Friday night, the Nebraska soccer team will be home against Kentucky. That match begins at 7. 2 games to watch in high school football on Friday night. Millard North travels to Papillion La Vista, and Millard West faces West Side. On Saturday in college football, the Mavs are on the road at Augustana, and I'll be in Waco, Texas for Nebraska's game against Baylor. Kickoff there at 6 o'clock. And on Sunday in college soccer, San Diego plays at Nebraska. That's a look at our Sports Week calendar. Now let's send it back out to Ross.
Thanks, Webbs. This week, the Highlight Zone has a little bit of everything. Auto racing, baseball, hockey, and football. Let's go to the zone. This is your ticket for a wild ride through the plays of the week in the Highlight Zone. Jeff Finley had the hottest ride of the week when his car catches on fire and he escapes unharmed. Let's cool off on the ice with the best goal by Jeremy Roenick, who goes airborne for the score. The end of baseball's regular season gives us a chance to reflect on the best plays of the season, and there were plenty.
Long run, Piazza. Great play to end the inning.
It's out there a long ways, and Hamilton makes a spectacular diving catch.
He going back. He's still going. It's going to be very tough. Weiss, what a play by Walt Weiss. Go! Gaetti to the cap. Diving catch. Might be playable. And up on the tarp, the backhand, the ball. What a catch by Dean Palmer. Ball is lined down the left field line. An amazing catch by Greer. My, oh my, have we seen some leather in this game.
To take. There goes the runner, Erstad. On the ground. Fair ball. Clark got a glove on it. Flips behind. Oh, what a play. Oh, my.
Round and Guillen, a great play. They get one throw. Is he awesome? Look at Larkin.
Yes, Barry Larkin of the Reds makes it look easy. But the play of the year in baseball goes to Jen Edmonds of the Angels.
Oh, he made a catch.
That deserves a high five until next week in the Highlight Zone. Some great catches, and every Sunday night we show you the plays of the week in our Highlight Zone. Thanks for joining us tonight here on Sunday Sports Extra. But before we go, a look at the best plays from the NFL and today's scores when we come back.
Gotta get down.
Shop for cellular? Watch your step. Some wireless companies might sound good until you discover the holes in their calling area. Whoa.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Everything's great. AirTouch Cellular offers better coverage, locally and nationally, so you can stay in touch wherever you go.
Anyone hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Help!
AirTouch Cellular. An easy call to make.
You just earned yourself 30 days in the box.
Man, I wouldn't want to be in there.
New Radiance interior wall finish. Makes rooms feel cooler in summer, warmer in winter.
Comfortable in there, tough guy?
It also saves on energy bills. Radiance. Looks good. Feels better.
Now, here's the Ford Sports Stumper answer.
How to buy a minivan. Step 1. Pick the safest minivan there is. Ford Windstar. Step 2. Wait for the inventory closeout sale. That's when your local Ford dealer will want to clear the inventory to make room for the next shipment. Inventory closeout is the time to get the best values on Ford Windstar. Like $1,500 cash back on the only minivan to get a perfect 5-star safety rating from the government. Step 3. Hurry into your local Ford dealer today for the inventory closeout sale. Going on now.